Hello, everyone. Welcome to Indie Game Club. We are so excited to have you all here with us today. My name is Michael Zhitkov. I'm the founder and executive director of Potions and Pixels, based here in beautiful Charlotte, North Carolina. We're a local nonprofit organization that utilizes games to create social impact. Make sure to check us out on all the social media platforms and in our website and all that good stuff to see all the projects we're involved in, from game development to youth programs to discussions like the ones we have here today. If you're not familiar with Indie Game Club, and if it's one of your first times joining us, thank you very much. We host this on Thursdays. We call it, we essentially say it's like a book club, but for indie games. Thanks, Layla, our very own Layla, sharing the stream, and I see all the Courtney. And if you're not familiar with us, you'll notice there's a lot of American Girl Courtney stuff here, our official mascot. Hey, Mercenary, I see you in the chat. Everybody, whether you're on Twitch, YouTube, or Facebook, we appreciate you. Definitely make sure to jump into that chat with questions, comments. We'd love to hear your feedback. But let's get to this amazing group that we have here today. If you're a regular watcher, you've probably seen all of these people at some point on the show before. I'm going to toss it over to Layla to introduce herself and let folks know where they can find her online.
Hey, I'm Angelic Layla. I am, like you said, a regular on here, which I'm happy to be here every Thursday when I can, apparently. But you can catch me on Twitch. It's Angelic_Layla. I usually play Shinobi Strikers on Twitch. You can also follow me on TikTok if you want to see food, and all the food that I cook. And then Instagram and Snapchat is where I'm the most active. You can also catch me in the Athena Alliance as one of the Stream Team Goddesses, as well as Legend over here. We're both part of the Athena Alliance. And you can also catch me on the Game Hers. I'm an ambassador for the Game Hers. So, yeah, that's about it.
Super excited about that. And glad to have you back. I know we had a 2-week hiatus and didn't have you on before, but super glad to have you back on today. Let's keep tradition going. Let's clap it up for Angelic Layla. Thank you so much. And that Game Her stuff looked really awesome. I'm excited to see those streams. Definitely let us know more about that so we can keep pushing it out there.
For sure. It was fun.
Sweet. Amar, let's toss it over to you.
Hey, oh wow! I just ate some hot sauce and I'm like, that
perfect
was
timing.
nothing. I was like, that was nothing. But now I'm like, ooh, that's not. It's like that YouTube show with hot sauce. But hey, I'm Amar, gamer, nerd, amateur game developer. Live in Charlotte, North Carolina. You can find me on Twitch. My Twitch handle is Amarika. I'm probably commenting on everyone's here's chat, so if you see that, you can find me in there as well. Big fan of Potions and Pixels, of course, and just happy to be here.
Love having you, man. Thank you so much. Let's clap it up. Appreciate you, Amar. Really appreciate you being on here. Next, we got Tony Taiga. Tony.
Oh, shit, that's me. Hey guys. Oh shit, it's me. Hey, just Tony Taiga 90. Definitely catch me on Xbox Live. I've been playing that a lot, so it's just Tony Taiga 90, no underscores, no type of spaces. You can find that on YouTube and a few other. Also, I have a Twitch channel that I don't necessarily stream on just yet. I'm a big retro gamer. Games that I got in rotation, I am thoroughly enjoying the Scott Pilgrim game. Like I played it back when it first came out on Xbox 360. Had no idea how much I was missing that game. Really enjoying that one. And then still heavily involved in Castlevania Lords of Shadows. Definitely one thing I like to always say, again, is Tony Taiga 90. You can find me on Xbox Live. Add me as a friend. Don't be shy. And one thing I always like to say is that, hey, my name's Tony, and I like to play video games.
Always love the tagline. Clap it up for Tony. Appreciate you, man, as always. Took off that Snuggie, I guess, right now.
Yeah.
Rocking the Xbox shirt. I love it.
My wife got me this shirt for Christmas, so shout out to her.
Shout out to your wife. That's
Miss
love
Tony.
right there. That's love. I love that.
Yeah.
Awesome. And last but certainly not least, the indie goddess of indies, or the goddess, what did I say? The goddess of indie. I can't speak today. Hopefully this will be like this the whole show. But the Athena Alliance goddess of indies, Legend of the Star. That was a lot to get out. Let's clap it up. Legend, let folks know where they can find you and let us know about your stream.
Yeah, so I just basically play variety indie games, all titles, all genres. That's kind of where my content lies. You can find me on Twitch, Instagram, Twitter, at Legend of the Star. I usually stream like Tuesdays through Fridays. Saturdays and Sundays are kind of bonus streams. Probably like 10:30, 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Love
And
it.
then here on Thursdays at 7. Yay!
Love it.
Yeah.
Let's clap it up. Thank you, Legend, as always. Really appreciate you being here. Well, everyone, we got 5 games for you this week. Super excited to go into all of this. Hey, Derivative! Shouting with the bits. Appreciate it. Derivative, unfortunately, couldn't be here this week because his microphone isn't working. So we're I'm gonna pour one out right here for the homie, and I'm really hoping we're gonna see you. Yes, cheers. Hopefully we'll see you soon. If you're not watching Derivative's stream, let me get that link out right now as well. As Derivative has one of my absolute favorite indie gaming streams. Let me bust it out right here. Make sure you're following that. Make sure you are following that. Always a great time. Always a great opportunity to discover all sorts of overlooked indie games, especially. That's his specialty. He's really good about discovering that. Let's take a look at the games we got. So we got 5 games that we're going to be looking at. We got Dead Estate, Veinless Property, Psycho Taxi Rewind, Lieve Oma. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that correct. That is a Dutch title. And then finally 9.03M. All of these games, I'll drop the links as we discuss them. All of them are available pay what you want or free play. That's a lot of the games we kind of look at here on Indie Game Club. All of these are available on itch, although I should say 9.03M is available on Steam as well in free play. I figure the first one we can discuss, folks, is Dead Estate, if that's cool with you guys. I played this on stream, I think, was it earlier this week? I have lost track of time right here. Let me cut this off right here in this Courtney thing. Okay, let me read this right here to you guys. So this is the description for Dead Estate. We should say that it is coming to Steam with a bunch of brand new content. Hey, Mystic, thank you so much for the cheer. Really appreciate the bits. Always love having you in the chat, and hopefully you can jump on here on the show soon. Let me know when you got a Thursday available. Love to have you on again soon. Really appreciate the love there. But Dead Estate, let me read this description for you guys. It says, cornered with nowhere else to turn, can you escape the monster-filled mansion? Dead Estate is a gory, fast-paced, top-down shooter/roguelike with a heavy emphasis on Halloween and horror. Ascend 4 floors of a monster-filled mansion with 2 different playable characters, 25 different weapons to choose from, and 50 different items to aid you along the way. Beware of the lurking threats on every floor. Some of them are especially persistent. And again, this will be released with a full version soon on Steam. In fact, it looks like Q2 2021 with a ton of extra things, including 6 playable characters and so much like that. Panel, how did you feel about Dead Estate?
I liked it.
Yeah, I did too.
I personally had fun with it. I could not beat the freaking rhino thing.
The rhino.
But I don't know what it is. It looks like a rhino with icing on its back.
Nah, I saw it too, yeah.
That I couldn't get past around, but it was a lot of fun. I almost never got. Oh, I actually never bought the map either. Just I like to try to go into each room and figure out what was in where. But I guess it was more complicated than I thought because each round is a completely different map.
Yeah.
Everything, the weapons are completely different. Everything's completely different. So there's no you can't keep doing it to redeem yourself if you die.
Yeah.
Because there's no you lose that map after. So I was like, man, this is actually pretty hard. And once you're trying to go through it, and I guess one of the questions I had for everybody else was the big buff guy. Does he come at a certain time? Is there a timer for him? Because I could not, for the life of me, I was like, maybe if I just run really fast and try to find all these rooms really fast and everything, I won't have to deal with him. But I always ran into him.
That's a great question. We should say for those...
I think it was timed. If you took too long on the level, it seemed like the house would start to shake and then he would appear. I beat the rhino thing. I don't know about you guys, but I beat the rhino thing. I did.
The brag here. I like it. Which one was the rhino thing?
It looks like
I don't remember because I beat the whole game, and I'm just trying to remember which part of the game we're talking about here.
Oh, see, I knew it.
Which part was that? The first boss? Or
Did you
something?
get all 25 weapons? Huh? Did you beat all like 50 levels under?
I didn't get that hardcore.
I know what the game had.
For me, I actually played 2 different bosses in 2 different playthroughs, so I was wondering how the game was actually set up. Is it one singular map where you have different ways or different enemies and different bosses? But on 2 different playthroughs, the first one I beat the blob of blood, and the second one was the rhino monster. So I wasn't sure if it was just one map or someone said that there was levels. Like
there's different levels.
Yeah.
So after you got a key, and then you would go through the main door, you would beat whatever boss was there, and it would be different.
Yeah.
Each time, and then from there you would go up a floor.
Okay.
And then you would do the same thing basically, and then you'd go up the next level, and it would be twice as hard, more monsters, different obstacles.
I beat the blob of blood. I did not beat the rhino monster. So I will say that.
The little crawdad things reminded me of Wrath of Khan, and he stuck those little earwig thingies inside the Chekhov's ear. That's what it reminded me of. And if you found a gold one, it would give you like a whole bunch of coins and like bullets, I guess. They just kind of like walked to you.
The things that were in the pots,
pissed me off though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that was the number one
I was like,
cause
who
of
is he?
damage for me.
Where did he come from? Why is he missing a hand? And like, no matter how hard, like, it was cool though when you were running away from him, how you could like go in and out of the levels, But then, of course, if you hadn't completed the room, you'd get locked in there for a little bit. But dude, like that guy would like, I don't know, like I didn't get it. I didn't get the point, dude. I don't know why he's there. Like, I didn't
It's a good
beat
question.
the game. I came close though, but
yeah, I assume it was like an effort to kind of like force people to not like diddly dabble, however you say that, like in the mansion.
Dilly dally, and everything. But I like the game, and you guys know I don't like roguelikes.
I know,
at
that's
all,
why I was wondering. What
I liked it. I enjoyed it. It was very fast paced. Being able to use either the space bar or the mouse to jump, I thought was kind of cool. I was kind of button smashing. I think controller would probably be your best bet. Not that you can't play it with keyboard.
It didn't have controller,
but I think your movement would be smoother.
No, I didn't
use the joystick.
I use X-Patter for the controller. The thing about this is that when you do use like something like X-Patter for the controller, the mouse was a little tricky for me because in roguelikes the idea is that you. It's exactly. So in roguelikes, you absolutely have to be pointing in the direction. But when you're using, when you map like a mouse to your thumb pad, it gets a little wonky. You might find yourself like going off screen and stuff like that.
I feel you on that. Before we get to Amar, because I'm very curious what he thinks about this. Shout out to Tempest636, who was just on the show. Here's to a great indie night. Appreciate you, my friend. Thank you for joining us here. Amar, let's do our little guessing game here and wonder if he liked it. Let me give a couple insights right here. I know that historically Amar isn't the biggest fan of roguelikes.
Really?
Although I know he enjoyed Dead Cells. I remember this conversation. We were actually at a bar, and you told me how. Maybe you've changed. But you told me how much you enjoy Dead Cells, or was it Metroidvanias? No, you might have told me how much you don't enjoy typically Metroidvanias.
I like how he's just casually sitting there, like, keep guessing.
Because he has the most structured face. So which one do we think? I think that he does not like roguelikes, so I'm gonna go with that one.
I think he's gonna. I think he likes this game. I might have messed up on my facts there. Shout out to King of the Nerds. Thank you so much, Frost. Appreciate you, my friend. I think he likes this. So, Tony, you're saying no?
I say he doesn't like roguelikes. I think he likes Metroidvanias.
I think he does like roguelike. I think I'm pretty sure he does because I remember some of the other games we talked about. I'm confusing all my stuff, but let's hear it from everybody else. Legend. And,
does he like it? I think he liked.
I think he liked it.
No, I don't think he liked this game. I don't think he liked this game.
Legend. Okay, Legend's got I think parenting duties over there, so we'll hold off on a second there.
Wait, no. I can do it. I got you. Okay, so you're right though. It's always when I'm live, right?
Yeah, I feel you totally.
Always. Like, hello, dude. I can't even pee by myself. It's sad. Okay, so
the question, Legend, is whether Amar enjoyed the game or I think
I'm gonna say yes. I'm gonna say he liked this game.
All right, let's hear it, Amar.
Wait a
I
minute.
think he liked it, but he didn't
I
like
want to change my answer. I want to change because he likes that game that's on Switch, the Greek God game.
Hades.
He likes Hades.
No,
Hades
I know.
Is a
That's what
roguelike.
caused me to like
So
reconsider.
he likes this game.
I confused it. I think it's Metroidvanias. I'm trying to
He doesn't
remember our
like
past
Metroidvanias.
conversations. Oh my god, he
likes
literally
it.
dropped out of the
He
was like, you know what?
conversation.
Oh.
Wow. He's like, I'm not going to listen to this slander anymore. Amar, come back. We promise. We'll let you talk.
Where'd he go?
I got cheesecake. You can have some.
You guys pissed him off.
Oh man. If anybody knows where Amar is, we need to. While we're waiting, King of the Nerd says, I just watched a guy get high off Old Spice in an ad while waiting. While
Well,
I
at
was
least
loading.
it's not
Really?
G Fuel.
Yeah. So I actually just had my G Fuel and I had my protein bar, so I'm good for the rest of the
How do
night.
you take your G Fuel, Tony? Do you snort it or you drink it or what's the?
He injected
There's a
it.
line of
Yes.
I take one scoop fill, and it's funny because now like I'm sort of feeling it, right? Because normally I'm sort of like chill, but like
Yeah.
I'm sort of I don't got like the jitters or nothing. But I definitely
Tony
feel it,
straight to
you
the
know?
dome.
Yeah, you gotta inject it, snort it, and drink it if you want. We're joking
Great.
here. For Potions and Pixels isn't liable for any of this. Amar, are you back with us, my friend? Did we?
Yeah, I'm back, man. I started talking about GameStop and it just cut off.
Damn.
immediately. I don't know what happened there.
Damn it.
Like, you know, all over the media and
I
everything.
mean, they're done with me. They're done with me. They've moved on
Yeah,
to
I
the next
guess so.
target.
Layla's actually the true founder of all the Game Stonk stuff. Little do people know.
Oh.
She'll be
It's
testifying.
always
next
on the
week.
news. Yeah, sorry, I kind of missed the part. You were saying the last part that I had, Michael. You said we made a Navari. You said I like Dead Cell.
Yeah, I got confused for a minute, and I think Tony is right.
Wait.
And you're not
You
on
like
camera, by
Hades.
the way, Amar. If you
Oh,
can,
I'm sorry.
yeah.
Okay.
Tony reminded
But
us
you
you
like
love
Hades.
Hades. Exactly. I remember
Yeah,
how
I
much
love
you
Hades.
like Dead Cells, but I recall you're not a fan of Metroidvanias, and that's where I'm gonna put it down. And so I'm gonna say
Yeah.
you enjoyed this game, but you're still not a big fan of Metroidvanias.
I want to go with this.
I'm not a fan of Metroidvanias,
Oh, yeah.
and I had this prepared. It doesn't
Oh,
look so
shit.
good.
You were ready for this conversation.
This is my haters hat. Is that gonna wear?
I didn't get one of those.
Which looks like a really bad etch, but I tried. I tried to do it just before this, but I'll.
What is it? No, you gotta keep wearing it. We gotta have it.
The haters
I gotta do it just
all the way.
while getting like my point across.
You say
So-
it when you're making a hater point, or when there are
Yeah,
haters
when I'm
in
making
your
a hater
presence?
point.
Okay,
It's kinda
gotcha.
like- it's better than a cone, you know. Maybe next time I'll make a cone. You know, like the full cone or whatever that's called. Okay, so my thing with this game, of course, love the art style.
Yeah.
Really cool voice. It's actually like inspired by. I had my notes. But it's inspired by like Commodore old games actually. Like there's a game called Night Lore. It has like exactly the same idea.
Some
It's the
early
same
Rare
look
games.
for the doors and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So all of that is awesome. My one problem with the game is really the core. Well, two problems. It's really the core of the game itself, and it's like one, the gun.
Did you say your only problem is the core game?
No,
Game itself.
let me explain the two mechanics.
Okay, let's hear it.
I wanted to like the game. I really wanted to like the game. The gun and the shotgun are just super weak. Like all of the weapons are actually like always felt like super weak to me. Like it felt like I was shooting marshmallow out of the gun, and none of the monsters would die. None of even the like what do you call these things? Like the urns on the corners would die. Like even like Link and Legend of Zelda can break these things in one hit. Like it needs to be like a little bit weaker. So that's my issue. And then the jumping, I fought like what was it? Like a butterfly? It wasn't a butterfly. It was like a flying
Oh, that
enemy.
thing. That was an annoying.
Yeah,
enemy.
that weird ass moth thing with the one eyeball. Like, don't let me tell
Yeah.
you what I thought
You
it
almost
was.
had to
but
jump
yeah.
to shoot it. Yeah.
I
feel you on
spent so much time trying to kill that enemy just because I was jumping around and trying to like just get like
You gotta
those
get
kind
it when it's
roguelikes that have jumping, especially like with the view of like a top-down view, just don't add jumping. Like jumping just is always like an odd perspective. Like I jump and then I don't know where I'm landing and things like that. There's a lot of cool ideas, right? And I wanted it to be more. I actually oddly wanted it to be more story driven. I wanted it to be more. Again, the original game, Night Lord, is like more of an adventure, like an old school adventure game, where like you kind of like combining items and stuff like that. But I don't know, just mentally, I wanted it to be like I had the note here, like kind of like a Betrayal, House of the Hill. Like I wanted to be able to go from one room to another, open up the closets, and do that kind of
more
exploring.
survival horror-esque. Is that kind of?
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, like
Okay.
more like like less hits, you would die immediately kind of thing. Because I actually got a lot of like Resident Evil vibe from the like that one monster that shows up, which is almost kind of like the ghost in what's the game that you play? Spelunky. It's almost like the ghost in Spelunky.
Yeah.
And I really like that. I really like that idea. Like that was a really cool twist to the game, and the game has a lot of cool things. But when the shooting is just so bad, like so weak, I struggle to like get far in the game. That's what it's odd because you would feel like it's a small thing, and I wish there's like a cheat sheet to like just have a really strong like rocket launcher, gun that I can just like delete everything and kind of go into the next stages. But
Did you find the witch and stuff though? Like, did you ever get to the witch where you can do the upgrades and whatnot?
Yeah, I did the witch with the upgrades, but I was always poor.
Yeah.
Oh, you have to break open all the pots and stuff. Like that was my thing. Is I went to save all the pots because I spent so much time on the first level because I was trying to figure out like what I actually need to do to progress through the game. So I was like, okay, well I can't break open these pots for money unless I have like no health, because if it drops a heart, if the pot drops a heart, then I can't go back and pick that up. So I was like, okay, well I'm gonna leave all the pots until like I have no health. And then that's where you get all your money at the same time, and you get your health at the same time. So I was really trying to like figure out the best way.
You like figured out the loot system.
Yeah, all that. Because I was like, I need to go to the witch so I can kill things faster and like upgrade my weapons and whatnot.
I didn't think about that.
So,
I thought the SMG was pretty powerful. It had a bit of a kickback, I noticed, when I had the... You're right about the marshmallows, though. I said the exact thing in stream. I was like, yo, it looks like marshmallows. Because you have to get really up close. It didn't have any, like, range, Like, they were powerful, but if you went up close enough... And I don't know about you, but that... Okay, so the ones that I didn't like... Okay, so here were the ones that I didn't like. I didn't like that weird ass juicy one with the big ass like zit on its head. Okay?
The juicy one.
The juicy one, yeah.
I
didn't
I like that juicy
guy,
one.
Like the runner, dude, the athletic dude, the red one who just like boom, like he just like he just came for you. And I didn't like the baby looking ones that birthed those weird ass creatures. That was creepy weird.
Yep.
But I did like how when they fell through the ceiling,
yeah, the
things were powerful. Yeah, I wouldn't say that it's a bullet hell exactly. The witch was cool. She was cool. She was a nice little respite.
By the way, a little bit of a heck. If you were chased by that muscular guy, if you go talk to the witch, right?
Yes.
That's the way to get the conversation.
Yeah, that's a part of another reason why whenever I was trying to figure everything out, I was like, okay, he can't get, because you hear the music, right? You're like, okay, so I must be safe in here. So I like ran back to the witch, and he just like starts banging on the door, and then he goes away. Like, really weird.
That was the one safe space that I had, but when he first started coming for me, like I was a little shocked by it, because there's no way to get him at all.
I tried to kill him, and you just kind of realized. I wish there was an indicator. To kind of like,
if you can go back to either the witch's room or just I don't know, survive. Like there really isn't anything, because he just kind of like one punches you and you're just out.
Yeah, I feel you on that part.
You're out, and I thought it was kind of weird how like I don't know if you guys noticed, but like in the intro, the truck driver was an old dude.
Yes.
Right? And then when you played the game, he like went back in time and got younger. Like if you notice, like his beard was sort of like a light brown.
Oh, interesting.
He wasn't like the old dude. Was that weird? Did I notice that? Was it me? Was I
started off as the girl, as Jules. So
I was Jules, and then I liked them both. I'd have to say that the old man and the wife, because at first you're just like, okay, well, I don't want to fucking, like pistol just to like shoot like things, because you're thinking, okay, like monsters and shit, like pistols are in most games, pistols are shit. But I was pleasantly surprised at how the weapon handled.
Yeah.
But I didn't like the fact that you did have to go awfully close, and you were already sort of like in a crunch space. And like I said, dude, fucking the red guys, they came for you. Like, they came for you. Like, I was like, well, like, they came for you. It was so, I didn't like that one at all. And it was weird how, like, the head guys, like, when you shot them, their heads just stayed there. Like, everything else disappeared and it was bloody. But their head stayed. I thought that was kind of weird.
Yeah,
like, why are you...
The bodies disappeared, but the head stayed. Yeah, I did notice that.
There's a lot.
Yeah, that was
There's a
so
lot of
weird.
things like when you walk by a room, once you're done with it, there's just a lot of like trash on the ground. It's
I like
kinda,
the idea, yeah. I like the
cool.
idea of the mini map, though. That was cool because you got an idea
Yeah.
of where you were going, where you needed to head. Like most games, the map is very obscure if they have a map at all. I liked how it didn't tell you exactly. Like, I thought maybe there was like secret doors because of how the map is gridded.
Yep.
It sort of gave me that like that Zelda appeal where, you know, oh, there's a space, so there must be something behind here, you know, but there was.
Look behind
Once I got like the
grandfather clock or whatever.
I tried shooting the furniture. That was nothing. So I don't even know why you really have furniture there, because your instinct is just to shoot everything because you don't know what you're going to get from it.
Yeah.
Zelda style.
Yeah, and the vases were a little harder to like get. Like there wasn't really. I thought okay, like the squished vases before you enter the room. That's where the hearts sort of were. But then if you're just kind of running around like a mad person shooting everything, you couldn't really tell what vases benefited you and what vases didn't. And so I think that was it was like too many vases in a room. So you spent half your time. So I don't know if that was like the purpose to keep you there longer so that dude can come chase you and you're just like, you know, what the fuck? You're trying to like save yourself. Or if they just put it in there because, you know, for hearts and extra cash. But it wasn't really, I don't know, it wasn't really much. I did like how the maps changed each time you died. It was a little different each time. The enemies were still the same. But in the second level now, I only made it to level 2. I didn't go any higher than that.
Yeah, I did too.
I can tell you guys about
I
3 and
thought
4.
I was gonna make it to level 3, unlike you, Mike. Okay, like I only made it. Like I thought I was gonna make it to level 3, but one of the earwig things touched me in the butt and I died.
Bruh.
Gotta watch out for that.
Yeah, okay, we gotta know
It
that.
touched you in the butt. Like it was weird. Like I thought.
I don't know. I don't remember that.
because they're so small. But yeah, I was like, I was so mad because I could feel I was at the end of it. And he just like,
I naturally assume like once I beat one boss that it was all on the same plane. But does it flat? Like, how did you guys know that you were on different floors? To me, it just looked like it was.
You went up like a cage. After you beat the boss, a cage appeared in the middle, and you would go in the thing, and it would just kind of like break, and then you boop, and then it'd say level 2, and it would be weird and kind of foggy, and then you'd go into a room where there'd be like these like cloak bitches, like
Yeah.
I missed the cloak bitches. God damn.
yeah, with like their like weapons and stuff. It was crazy. It was weird, and then like at first I didn't realize to avoid the weapons. I don't know why I didn't think like. I don't know why I didn't. I don't know. So, like, I died the first time I made it to level 2. And then the second time I made it to level 2, I would just, like, shoot. Because if you jumped just right, you could go on top of the vases or, like, the tables and stuff. So you could do that.
Yeah.
But it was weird because it was, like, again, a cramped space. And then you have this obstacle plus these people coming at you. So, and the weird, like, blood bubble people. They were a little weird. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was odd.
You know, I've been sitting here patiently listening to all of this stuff. I saw my arch nemesis, Mr. Hater, over there, so I had to make a lover cap right here.
Oh, I thought that was for losers.
For the loser. No, this is a lover.
man.
I don't know. I'm not hip to the new terms. I don't know if the opposite of a hater is. Isn't it a lover?
I'm a lover, not a fighter.
Forgive me. Yeah, I'm a lover over here. So I'm gonna say I've really enjoyed this game, and I'm gonna let y'all know in the audience why you need to check this game out for sure. Go for it, Legend. You got something?
No. Keep going. I'm good. I'm laughing. I'm ready. I'm ready for your champions trophy.
So I did play it on stream. If you want to watch the lover take on the game, you can watch me get through the whole thing on stream from earlier this week. I did die immediately, I think, when I started it, and then the next run I got through the whole thing. I really enjoyed this. I think the aesthetic is awesome. I love actually I don't think enough games do this kind of three-dimension. I think this actually was in 3D, like looking at it, to be honest. Like, I think it was probably built, I'd imagine, in something like in Unity, and it's actually 3D environments. But as Amar said, it is kind of built to look like old school kind of early 3D effects that were actually 2D that we saw like in the 80s and 90s to kind of like emulate this style. I wish we actually saw more of this perspective, especially with these kind of retro aesthetics. This to me had like all the core satisfying elements that I like in roguelike games. Just to be a snob here again and let the audience know, remember the key difference between roguelite and roguelikes. This definitely kind of goes more in the roguelike category because, as folks said, after you die, you have to restart the game fully. There's no sort of permanence that you shift over to your next run, or that benefits you, as you've seen in games like Hades or Rogue Legacy, things like that. So this is truly, you start a new run, you're starting from ground zero, or the first floor or whatever, and no advantages to it. I was cool with that. I did have some issues with the difficulty curve. At some points, I thought the game was almost too easy, and then at some points, like, it would suddenly become like you would suddenly get hit a few times, and it felt like you were just completely knocked out. So as long as you're in a flow, you're good. But if you make a mistake, smacking those cloaks.
Slapped by the boss real quick.
I like the bosses. I actually enjoyed the jumping factor. I think I'm open to hearing more about that, Amar, because I think that I kind of think that adds a little puzzle kind of, or not puzzle, a dexterity element to like jumping over spikes or interacting with your environment there. I enjoyed all of the perks that you can get. I wish you could actually see what perks you had. I'm hoping in the final version after you get them, because if you don't remember what perks you have, like, it's hard to like have a build. And with the witches being like on each floor, you could get a few perks, but I almost wish you could get more. I too was like Layla, like I never bought the map once. I figured if you're going to explore the whole map and that's kind of the point of it, then why drop the money to do it? But then I bought everything else. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I honestly can't wait for the final game to come out in the second quarter. I wonder, what changes there's going to be. I did get annoyed by the little enemies, like those little worm creatures inside the pots, because I would instinctually destroy a pot and run into it to try to speed up the process of like collecting what's in them, and so I'd constantly run into the enemies there. But I feel like this was a really solid. A solid roguelike that has so much potential, so I'm really excited to see where they go from here.
So I actually, well, one, I want to hear your point on the gun being too weak. I feel like I'm the only one who thinks that. Like, does no one disagree with me?
No. The gun was like hella weak. You gotta sit there and like continuously just keep shooting the same weak enemies just for them to die. So okay. I had the same thing.
Okay.
And I feel like the stock gun, no upgrade, stock gun. The ST stock.
But even like I like the bombs, and then there was, I don't know what it was. It was like almost like bubbles being shot that would bounce off the wall and things like that. And I felt like even with those, they were still a little bit weaker. Like I would love if I had even less health and stronger weapons in a way. Like
which
almost
character
like
did you play when you?
I played both.
Okay.
So I tried the shotgun at first, but I actually went to the gun because I realized that actually once you hold the mouse, you would just like repeatedly shoot, which was awesome. I was like, okay, I'll just go with the gun because it's a longer range. But I mean, honestly, it's kind of promising to hear that there's that there will be releasing like a full version of this. I do want to see more. Kind of like with other roguelikes, I want to see more quirks in the games. Like I want to see like like the actual those closets like open up and there's more things in there and so on. There's a lot of cool ideas, and the whole idea of like the I'm gonna keep calling him the Resident Evil nemesis, like that guy who comes in and chases you. Like I really like that idea, and I want like stronger, it's like just more of everything, right? Like more upgrades.
Sure.
Start with a stronger gun, less health, giving maybe a third character who's like really weak or something like that. And again, like the art style, even like the small voice acting that you would hear here and there, the witch, all of these things are really cool. So there's a lot of really, really cool things in this game that make it special.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up.
I just couldn't get over the gun. That's why the gun and the shotgun, of course.
Yeah, let me read actually what's coming up in the Steam version. Shout out to I love Derivative wrote a great comment here. He wrote, "So Rogue is on Steam, and I hate that it got tagged as a roguelike." Yeah, I feel like if you're the original rogue, you shouldn't be rogue-like there. Hey, Stratomeyer. Stratomeyer saying, wait, this rocks. I don't know if you're talking about the game or the show. Either way, really appreciate you being here. Thank you so much.
He's talking about my hat.
Thank you all. Yeah, exactly. I love it. All right, let me tell you guys that, so they claim it's going to be over 2 times bigger. 6 new playable characters, double the original item count, a whole new floor to explore, and existing floor alternates, unique active abilities for every character, new challenges, new ways to play, meaning difficulty levels and looped runs, and much more to be discovered. Does that leave you guys excited? Because I'm definitely can't wait for this.
Yeah, that sounds much better. I bet a lot of people don't look into that extra bit, so it's like, but I'm excited. I'm excited for it.
Like, oddly, I started looking at the extra bits, right? Like, I was looking into, like, trying to see if I can open up the closet, or I bought the map from the witch just to see if there's, like, any hidden rooms.
So what did that do? It just showed you, like, the full location?
Yeah, it just shows you the floor, and there was nothing else. Maybe it depends on the one, but, like, I did that, and I immediately, like, regretted spending, I forgot it was, like, 200 gold or whatever.
Well, I'm glad you did, to at least know what to do. And I would definitely recommend for those who are playing this, once you get to that 4th floor, I don't think it takes into account like any excess money you have at the end of the game. So go ahead and buy everything. Like I bought, like I think I didn't even need any additional health, but I just bought like whatever, just because that's your final boss. Like, just do it. Sweet. Well, I know we got 4 more games to discuss here. Any more thoughts on Dead Estate before we move on?
That was pretty good.
Yeah, I really liked it, and I think it got this horror kind of cartoony, like Halloweenish feel. I love that. Are you guys like me that Halloween is like one of the favorite holidays ever?
It's
oh yeah,
the one and only.
Yeah, exactly.
The intro was really cool. I just want to add that like the animated intro that they had, that style of it was really cool. Yeah, I like everything about the style.
If they have 60
I have it in my notes. Be sure to watch the intro.
Yeah, I'm curious with the little. It would be kind of cool to do a little more story there with that aspect and see how the other 6 characters come in there to play.
What was y'all's least favorite enemy?
It sounds like Legend, where it was those little.
I don't like that red guy. That red guy was I didn't like that. He was too fast
too quick for you.
He was way too quick for me. I didn't like that shit. No,
the boss blob of blood. There's a there's a blob of blood.
The blood hurts you, right? Like the big when they.
Yeah, and then it keeps getting smaller and smaller, but it it multiplies the smaller it gets. It's like, well, fuck, dude, go away.
The classic slime dilemma.
For me, it was the moth guy. Like, I don't know if for me he got like. I actually had to learn to jump and shoot because I thought the game glitched out. Because, he kind of, like, hovers and goes down.
Yeah, he hovers. You gotta get him when he, like...
Yeah, so for me, he just stayed up. And I was like, what do I gotta do? And I couldn't shoot him any other way. So I just kept on jump shooting him, which ultimately worked. But, yeah, the moth guy was the one...
Is that what that thing is? Is it a moth? Are you talking about the tan thing?
Is that...
with the wings. Yeah. It was like...
I thought it was like a Mothman.
Wings? Look, so what... Is that what the rhino thing spits out? Is those little tan? Are they moths?
Things with no.
I have amnesia. I don't remember the.
No. The little. You're right though. It did burst. It burst it. But so did it. Was like the same thing that came out of like. It was like a weird hand looking, like a claw looking thing, right?
Right. Yeah. So that thing was in the air, and then it would like you'd see the little shadow. And then, like,
it would drop from the ceiling.
Towards you. Those things. I was like, what the hell is this thing? It looks like a cat to me. Like, I don't know why I thought it was like...
It came out of everything. It came out of the zombies. It came from the ceiling. It came out of that rhino thing. Like, they came out of that.
Those things, like, so the same thing with, like, the red guy for you. I was too fast. I was like, everywhere! Like, those are my least favorite fucking things. I was like, I don't even know. And they spawn. They come out of other enemies. And I'm like, I don't know what this is.
Yeah, that was gross.
That was my least favorite.
Yeah, overall, I like the enemy variety. I think sometimes the rats would get on me. I think the guys in the pots. That's the only thing. It's like, I almost just wonder if it's even worth doing that. Like, to me, you know what I mean? Like, it just adds another level of... I guess the whole point from a design standpoint is for people to not rush through the pots. But to me, that's like kind of in games we're kind of used to that, just clearing through the pots and getting stuff there. So, yeah.
You were standing really close to them because I was shooting them from a little bit further away, and I kind of didn't run into that issue. And I'll tell you why is because you get the kickback from the gun too, so it's not like I was running into it. So I don't know. It's odd that bothered you so much, honestly, because for me that was just like, oh, there's a cute thing that I'm gonna kill it and move on.
Yeah,
You know what it was?
I guess 'cause they would like zigzag too. I don't know.
Yeah.
I panic. Like this is why I don't play shoot because I panic. Like I act like I'm really sitting there in the room, like with whatever the hell it is, and I'm just like,
Role
oh my
play
gosh, I don't know.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
you don't know. That's
I'll
what,
play
it would just like go this way, then go this way. I was like, it's getting closer. I have a shotgun. It's not affecting it. I understand.
Yeah, yeah.
There you
I think that
I don't know,
their
I was
heads
like jump.
look like
I was
hearts.
jump playing that the whole game.
Yeah,
That's a
I was
problem.
jumping, maneuvering, and jumping. Like,
I was barely
jumping,
jumping.
twin sticking it. I love the twin stick nature of it too, as far as just fluid movement. I think that's really cool too. I know there's been other roguelikes that have done that, but I actually can't think of one I'd be. I guess like Nuclear Throne. What am I saying? There's definitely others like that. But yeah, I thought that was really solid. Awesome. You guys ready to move over to the next game?
Yeah.
Let's jump over. How about we jump over next to discuss Veinless Property, a game that we will probably spend more time talking about than the amount of time it actually takes you all to beat. Let me adjust the game is probably about 5 minutes long, I would say. I mean, I guess it kind of depends on your approach to it. Does anybody want to give an overview of what Veinless Property is? Or actually, should I start with a description?
Yeah.
Can we do that? Okay, let me hit you all up with this. So, did I update? Hey, Stratomeyer, I think, I'm assuming, Stratomeyer, that you were one of the game devs. Thanks. He said, thanks so much for talking about Dead Estate. It was fun listening. Appreciate you so much.
Oh, geez.
I know
I'm so sorry, by the way.
No, it's great feedback.
I know. I'm just giving it a hard time. I'm sure he heard all the feedback before and everything. I'm looking at this full game. Regardless.
Yeah, no. Just as a reminder how much I love it.
Just be sure.
No, we absolutely we always love it. We always love when devs join the chats, and yeah, so much of our feedback is just honest feedback about what we love, what we think would be changed. And as everybody knows who's a regular viewer of the show, one of our favorite things is that we all have different opinions. It wouldn't be a fun show if we all just
I know.
loved every single genre and loved all the same games. So Stratomeyer, thank you so much for dropping in. Please tell your whole team we appreciate all that y'all are doing, and looking forward to Q2 of this year.
I'm looking forward to it. I do not like roguelites. I streamed this game actually twice. During the week. I played both characters. I went again, only made it to level 2, but it was cool. Like that's my level of gameplay. Alright. Like I died 4 times. The first time I played it for like an hour, I think, and then the second time I only died like I think twice. So I made like a little bit of an improvement, but I did. I liked it.
I know you said that from the get-go when we started this show, like back when, like that was one of your lesser preferred genres, but I appreciate.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, my lesser preferred in puzzles. Ugh, I can't.
And also shout out to MB Jack, who said, yeah, I was only able to listen for a little bit, but thanks for playing. Really appreciate you all so much. Stratomeyer saying, great feedback, though, y'all. It's really nice hearing other people talking about it. Really appreciate you guys. If you guys check out, in fact, you know what? I didn't drop the link as well.
Yeah, I highly recommend it, definitely. It's a really good game. It has such valid potential, I think. I mean, of course, there's little bumps and bruises that are going to differ from each player, but I think it's cool. And if each 6 characters have its own storyline or somehow make it within the intro, I think that would be really good too. Because in the intro, you're just having the 2, which is valid because those are the only 2 characters that you happen to be playing, right now. But to have them all tie in to the main story idea would be cool.
Yeah, for sure. And I'll say this last thing before we move on here. Stratomeyer, shout out, who did the cutscene art and animation, character design and sprite art, enemy design and sprite art, and thumbnail art. And then MB Jack did programming, game design, environmental art, weapon art, sound effects, cutscene audio. I dropped the link in there. Make sure to check that out. And if you all don't mind letting us know, if when it comes out and releases, we'd love to talk about it even further. So keep us in mind for all of that stuff. Really appreciate you joining us. And stick around. We're talking about other games. Feel free to jump in the chat and talk about the others. So let's go back to Veinless Property here. Veinless Property is a cel-shaded horror game based on a home invasion. And thanks, Stratomeyer, for following. Really appreciate you so much. Thanks for showing us love. Veinless Property is a cel-shaded horror game based on a home invasion in the style of Junji Ito. Thank you, MB Jack. Appreciate y'all. Always, this whole show is about showing indie games and indie devs love, so really appreciate that a lot. So this game right here, as we said, can probably be, you could beat the whole game in about 5 minutes. The whole idea, I love the visuals, by the way. I'm going to jump straight ahead and say that. But the whole idea here is that, I think the opening game says like your parents are away or something, and so you are told to like turn off all the lights and go to bed. And Layla, you want to take it from there to describe what happens next?
So this game, it honestly gave me a little bit of like PT vibes. So I'm gonna start with that. So you pretty much you're gonna go turn off all the lights. When I did it, I turned off all the lights and I left the fridge open because I was like, does that count as a light?
Smart move.
I didn't know. So then I went upstairs. I can't remember if I shut it or not, but I think I left it open. I went upstairs, and then it's like, now I can get some rest. And you hear knocking on the door, and I was like, so let's just start with. Sorry, I missed this very small but major detail in my eyes. I went upstairs after it was like, go to bed, turn off all the lights. I go straight to the freaking window up the top of the stairs. I look out the window, and there's the creepy little thing by the tree.
Ooh,
Did anyone else see that? Anyone see
I missed that. I didn't see the creepy thing until the door. So when you get the door, that's my thought.
Hold on, say that one more time, Layla. You can actually see the creepy thing before.
You can see the creepy thing before before it even knocks on the door. I went straight upstairs and looked out the window and I saw it. I was like, okay, it's about to go down. I already know. I was like, okay. So like, but it messes. That's what I like about the game, though, is that it's all. For me, I feel like it's psychological. It's like it messes with like scary games. It's the suspense that gets me. It's the anxiety that gets me. It's like the thought of what is coming that gets me with these games. So it's like I go upstairs before anything even happens. I see that thing outside. I'm like, okay. Do I want to even continue? Because I know something's about to happen.
How many of you all like enjoy like? We've done scary games before. How many of you guys like? Because we've talked about the fact that video games are like really unique in that they can create terror in a way that no other art form can, right? Like I can watch a scary movie no problem, but this game, literally that point, like some of those things you were describing, I actually remember like a physical. I wish I streamed this because like a physical rush through my body of just like sheer terror and just like yelling out loud. I think it was the point where after the being like comes out and you see him like in the window and like How many of you all like generally are into horror games? I'm curious. I like them. I don't play them much. I don't play them much.
I like them, but when someone else is playing them.
Yeah, watch it.
I love to watch them. My anxiety cannot handle it at all. But
did you finish, Layla? Did you finish the whole game?
No. Actually, I went to the knocking and didn't.
You were that scared?
Look, this is what I did. I made it all the way to the point where I went to the door and I turned off the light. And there was knocking. The knocking doesn't stop. Like nothing happens until you go open that freaking door. So when I opened the door, I didn't even see like what was on the other side. I opened it and the door shut. So when I made it to that point, and I ran upstairs and I heard something break, and I was like, "Hell no, I'm done." Because it was like I need something to defend myself, and I didn't have anything to defend myself. So I watched the VOD. After that,
so I I got to this very similar point. So I got upstairs. So I saw the thing, the door closed. I got upstairs. I'm like, all right, fine. I just turn off all the lights again, or turn them on, turn them off. So I get back upstairs into the room, and you freaking see that thing in the window, man.
Boy, that's the part
I
that
was like,
scared me so much.
no, thank you. That's where I should have stopped it at.
So scary.
Fun fact, I'm afraid of the dark. Like, fun fact, I'm
Yeah.
terrified of the dark. So this game already, it was like,
Yeah.
turn off all the lights. Like, hell no,
Oh,
I will not.
it was. So how would you guys describe the monster? It looked like a spider thing. It was just not natural.
It reminded me of The Grudge.
Yeah. Okay. There you go.
Yes.
Like a squid with a face, a squid with a head. I don't know. That was.
Yeah. Yeah, that terrified
Yeah.
me. Let me jump in with some of these comments right here from the chat. I'm assuming Bone Record is do we have the developer in the building? Because Bone Record is actually saying, really happy that you were talking about my game, really appreciated it, but I'm pretty sad that Legend couldn't really play it through. Legend, is this did you try to play this through also?
Why, yes, I did.
Guys, before, I want to hear what you have to say, Legend, but here's what I think is hilarious. That, you know, ahead of this, when I sent you guys the links for this week's games, I put little timestamps, like how long these games would take. And this was like the shortest game by far. It was like 5 minutes. And I love how it's that terrifying. That terrifying to you guys.
Yeah.
That, so who ended up finishing it?
Oh no.
What?
Martin. We got
Martin.
Martin, because Martin's not afraid of anything. I swear he's not. He has no fear.
No.
Oh,
That game
man.
was scary, and I get the point, and
All right.
like I don't do horror movies, you know, like
Really?
I'm usually okay. I know that's a different medium, right? Like I really don't do horror movies, and the reason why is because a lot of them fall into the same tropes over time, and you just watch
sure.
it passively. And I'm like, oh, I'm eating, and there's a monster. Okay, and you know, like
Yeah.
usually I'm okay with like gore, kind of
Sure.
like bloody and stuff like that. Like Tarantino doesn't count, but like that kind of
Sure.
bloodiness, I'm okay with that. Like I can watch that, but like psychological horror, I mean, with movies again. With movies, I'm like, I have enough horror in my life. You know, life is as hard as it is for my mental health.
Being
I
a
don't wanna
millennial in
bother.
America, right?
I don't want to deal with this.
I hear ya.
And usually for games, I'm in a similar boat. If for a lot of the
So-
bigger budget games, right? But this one like just had a lot of tension in it
Yeah.
that I just wanted to see it through. And I think it kind of helped also that I knew that it was going to be, you know, it's going to be a little bit shorter. It's going to be a one
Sure.
session kind of game. So so I stuck with it, and I totally get it. Like, you know, like I hear the first, you know, like was it like the first knock of the door, and you know, there's always the joke of like,
This is wild to
you know,
me.
when black people hear something scary, like, nope, I'm out. You know, like that kind
I
of
was
thing.
like, I turned off my
That was
light
me.
and tried to lay down. I was like, no, I don't
Yeah, I
want
was-
to engage in the
I
door.
ran
Like,
straight
you're
to
gonna
it.
knock all night. You keep
I was-
knocking because I'm going to sleep.
One thing,
Yeah, it's like it's
one thing,
bedtime. I'm sorry, I'm not opening this door. Like I can just
One
wait
thing-
here.
I
That's
had a
just
small
like,
criticism,
go
and,
ahead.
and it might actually help but it might have helped for the ambiance. Is that thing was a silent game? Like it was quiet.
Yeah.
The only
Oh, no.
sounds that you heard was the monster and the knocking. Like there was no music. Starting from the title screen, going into the game, there was like no music, no
Yeah.
nothing. It was
I
quiet.
talked about
Yeah.
But
this
I think it was meant for the ambience
for
of the
tension.
game.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think so.
Yeah.
It's like unnerving
Alright.
tension. Let me read a couple of these comments
Yeah.
real quick, and then I want to toss it back to Legend to hear her. I'm assuming it wasn't tech issues. I'm assuming she just was terrified. But this is hilarious. All right, so we got quite a few comments right here in the chat. Thank you all, whether you're on Facebook, Twitch, or YouTube. We got the whole aggregated chat here. And shout out, thank you so much, Bone Record, for being in the chat here. Really appreciate it. As we said, we always love when devs are in the building. Love talking about your work. Thank you. Darth Sabalba, hey Darth Sabalba, says that looks like something out of Sin City. Yeah, it really does have a really cool vibe there.
Yeah,
It's kind of it's cell shaded, but also there's some pixelated aspects of like the beers and things that I really liked. Let's see. King of the Nerds saying, dude, best scary game I ever played was Phasma. I'm assuming Phasmophobia. It gives me real fear, and I hate scary games. I feel you on that. Mike Bierman, Death Machine. We always love that name. Says, I love scary games and movies. Derivative saying, I like them when all the horror isn't jump scare based. King of the Nerds saying, the worst scary game I played was Outlast. Oh my god, don't get me started on that. Terrifying. The game gave me real fear, but I hated it. Yeah, it's like I refuse. In fact, I was telling my son about this because he always asked me, like, what am I playing for Indie Game Club? And I wanted him to play this. It's almost like a punishment. I float. Like, if you don't do your schoolwork, I'm going to make you play Veinless Property and all these other scary games on Indie Game Club. Mike Bierman, Death Machine, all saying horror is my favorite movie genre and the top genre of games for me. King of the Nerds saying Cthulhu is watching. Stratemeyer saying that art of this game looks lovely. MB Jack saying, yeah, the aesthetic is really great. Silence is creepy. We're hearing some stuff about that. And then finally, Bone Records says, thank you so much. I'm actually just shit at making music. So that's the original reason on why it's so quiet. Shit. But it had a great effect on us players. I love that admission there. That's fantastic.
Because the fact that there's no music and you can only hear, like, your movements. And, like, you even the clicking of the freaking light and everything, like, that's what made it so suspenseful and so, like, gave me so much anxiety because I'm listening and honing in on, like, anything that's going on.
Yeah, the fact that we all noticed it, right? We all, like, noticed, like, where's the music, right? And we don't notice that in real life, but in the game we do.
I didn't think anything of it. I didn't think anything of it. I just thought, like, it was just because we played a lot of indies that sometimes doesn't have any music to it. So I would just, like, it just go quiet game.
All right, Legend, tell us your experience.
So I'll give him this. I think that maybe the sound effects played into the fact that there was no music. So a good example is that, I noticed that, like, man, this is like a really quiet game. It's like a silent movie. But then, like, once you get to some of the effects, like the knocking on the door, you're like, holy shit, I can hear that really loud. Yeah. You know what I mean? So definitely the lack of music played into the fact that you actually react to a lot of sounds. You're investigating sounds the whole game.
Yeah. No, I feel you on that. All right, Legend, I want to know.
My bad, go ahead.
No, let me just get this part real quick because we've been holding her on. Did you get to the knocking point, or at what did you get?
Okay, so here's the thing, and no, it wasn't for lack of trying, right? Yeah. Thanks for calling me out there, Dev. So I streamed this game last. I streamed everything. I actually had time this week. I was like, yo, because you said, like, you did the times this week, and it was like 30 minutes. I was like, yo, I can, like, totally freaking, like, do this, right?
Yeah.
Like, my schedule felt good. So I streamed it last night, and I made sure, by the way, if anyone who does stream this, it does give you a photosensitivity warning, so I would advise you guys to put that on your title. If you play it, I always do if I feel like it's going to cause any type of light sensitivity issue. So I put that in my title right away.
Appreciate you saying that.
I didn't know what I was doing. Okay, I got lost and I got frustrated because, like, the red was different. Okay, the red was different. I did turn off all the lights, but I guess I didn't read it all the way through because it said to turn off all the lights, but it didn't really dawn on me to, like, I don't know, like, I tried to turn off all the lights, and then I was going up and down the stairs, but I didn't look, I was confused, to be really honest with you, when I played it. I had no...
Hold on.
I didn't know what the hell I was doing.
Sorry, Legend. What was confusing? It literally said I have to turn off the lights.
Like, I didn't witness at all. Like, I was going to play it offline again because I hated it. I hated it. I hated it. Like, I don't know what, like, it was just, I don't know, it was weird. Like, I don't know if it was because I was, I don't know. Like, I didn't like, I don't know, I didn't like it. Like, if I would have, like, I don't know, like, I turned off all the lights, I feel like, I don't know.
What'd you do after that,
all the lights like you guys did, and I went up and down the stairs, and I heard knocking, but I didn't, like, I don't know, I got lost because it was dark, and then,
oh, man.
And so I was just like, well,
you're like the anomaly when you're doing play testing.
And I was like, I don't like it. I'm like, I don't know what the hell this game is. I don't, whatever.
The first thing I didn't know to turn off all the lights. The second playthrough, once I realized to turn off the lights to go to sleep, it sort of made sense because it was like, oh, okay, you gotta, like, check all the rooms before you go in your bedroom.
Well, now it makes sense. And then, like, some creepy thing out a window, like,
yeah, that shit was scary.
That would have freaked me out. But I was already scared and intense to begin with because, one, it's like everything is red and hella bright. So you're walking into some like mess, and then of course when you touch anything, the subtitles are in or in a different language, all comic book style. So you're like, oh shit, like if it wasn't a scary game, I would have thought I'd be like, fighting some Yakuza or something. Like that was kind of like the vibe that I got. It was very very Sin City, very comic book like. So it was cool in that regard, but like I don't know, I just didn't get it. So I had a different experience because my plan was to play it off. I was like, look, I'm gonna give this game a chance. Maybe I'm not playing it right, so I was either gonna stream it again or just play it offline. And my plan was to play it offline, today, but school and stuff. But yeah, so I didn't have the same experience you guys did. But now, like, I'm really freaked out, and I'm kind of glad I didn't see all these weird, creepy shit. Some spider, Cthulhu-looking, like, red monster, like, hanging outside. And what is that preview in there? What's in the bathtub? Does it find you in the bathtub? What is that in the bathtub?
I didn't get that far.
That's the thing.
I love.
That's the thing, because you're just sitting in the bathtub, like staring at you.
I feel like this honestly,
and I was like, no, thank you.
the developer should honestly use this like scene as like an advertisement for a trailer.
Yeah.
Like the game is 5 minutes. And
Yeah.
more than half of the people in this
still
group
couldn't
couldn't get through it because of how scared they were or
I
other
almost
factors.
did.
Like,
I just
I love
ended
that.
up watching it.
Yo,
But
once you get to the door is knocking, you answer the door, you go back upstairs. All right, cool.
yeah.
You see that freaking thing in the window, that spider monkey looking thing, dude. And he's just like, well, okay, time to go back. Like, you're not going to go to sleep after that. Like, so after that, I was just like, well, I guess it's game over. Bye-bye.
You're right, though. If you see something creepy out the window, you're not just going to be like, oh, it's just my imagination.
Nah, screw that, man. He's like, after that, I was like, I'm good.
Layla, you said you had a question about it?
I
What's on
had
your
a
mind?
question for the dev actually, because it was, I don't know if they did it on purpose or not, but because it's called Veinless Property, and you go in the bathroom and the mirror is broken. Did you do that on purpose, like a play on words, or what? Because I was just like, I thought that was really dope if you really did that.
Can I take a guess?
Yeah.
Go for it, Amar. Yeah, give us a guess before the dev chimes in.
It's
hopefully.
because it's hard to like have the technology to have a mirror working.
Reflection.
just like old like Doom games and stuff like that. They were like,
Really?
oh, that was a big deal in Duke Nukem, where like it's like, oh,
Yeah, I
there's
think
mirrors kind of thing. I don't know. I don't know if that's how they did it, but I would say that it's a really small idea to break it like that. So I'm also curious about that.
He's right. You're right. I overthink,
He's right.
man. I overthink about everything. That's why this game got to me so.
Oh, nice.
We got. I love that so
Oh,
much.
GameStop,
Yeah, because then you'd
GameStop.
have to render like the main character.
Yeah.
Potentially, if you wanted to do like reflective things.
I always like looking at myself in the
So
mirror if I see it in the bathroom in a game. Like all the time. I'm always trying to be like, ooh, I wonder what I look like. All the time.
Yeah, for sure. Bone
Always
Record
trying
said
to do
making reflections is a pain in the ass. I love it.
I bet.
That is so
I bet.
funny.
Yeah.
I overthink.
Let me read a
it.
couple
That's why I
comments.
love the game.
Man, I wish Derivative was here. Is that considered rape? Because there's another game in here that you do see a reflection. Is that considered ray tracing?
Oh, I thought you said rape.
Yeah.
I was like,
No, is that considered like ray
It's so
tracing?
out of
Because
character.
there's another game. There's another game that we did see reflections. I'll speak on later on. But is that considered ray tracing?
Sorry, Tony. I gotta
Yeah,
need like 5 seconds to
okay,
take this
we'll
more
say yes.
seriously.
We'll say
Right, you know?
I was gonna say rape.
I think we all heard you say rape. It's like,
Rape's not a joke. Like,
no, yeah, we're not laughing. Please don't clip that.
Absolutely not.
All right. Oh,
Oh my god.
well,
It's
just,
not even 9 o'clock yet, guys.
yeah.
Oh my gosh.
man.
There's nothing in my
But,
cup
but
here.
that is considered ray tracing, right? Is that the term, the industry term
I
for
would-
like
I would-
seeing your reflection?
Ray tracing is typically more like the path of the light and like the
Ah.
rays, the lights and shadows itself. Reflections potentially, although usually reflections are like more so like I think it's I don't know exactly what umbrella the tech would be under, but I think
It
could-
probably will have to be because a reflection would technically be like almost like a camera, like another camera from a different view. So you almost like have like that way when you move. If you think about the game Portal, like when you move around, you kind of want to see the vision like straight, right? Like if you're standing on the side, you kind of want to see. I think there's an element of that to it, but I'm not sure what that would be exactly.
Sorry, Tony, I'm still laughing at that.
No.
Let me read a couple comments here, and then Amar can go. Oh boy,
I know.
That's hilarious. Darts of Bulba saying, sounds like he needs to invest in smart lights that turn themselves off. Yeah, there we go. Derivative saying, oh shit, Darts of Bulba, that could be some good modern horror. Alone at home watching TV and you hear a whisper say, Alexa, turn off the living room light. That would be creepy.
Dude, if I hear that shit and it's not me, that's scary.
That is scary as hell.
I like the movie.
Yeah, that could be something new right there. Darsabolba saying, laugh out loud. That reminds me of the Alexa hacks where employees would randomly talk strangers' devices. I don't think I know about that.
I do remember that. I do remember that. Yeah, I do remember that. There was hacks where people can hack into like Alexa. There was one thing where it was like a little girl's Alexa or a little girl's Google Home was sitting there like saying death threats and shit. It was like harassing some little girl or whatever, and then the person ended up going to jail for it. But yeah, you can hack into those things and like say really, not good things.
Yeah, don't do that, everyone. If you're,
all my light bulbs are like the Philips Hue lights. So I have like 4 Alexas in my house.
Watch out, Layla.
Right.
That's coming
GameStop's gonna find me again.
Yeah.
GameStop's coming.
They're gonna haunt me through my freaking devices.
I got the Google Homes, the Google Assistants, and yeah, they're definitely, you can fuck around with some people with that.
That's hardcore. Boner record. Sorry.
Boner Accord. It's Boner
Ecord.
That was
is, I think, the official pronunciation.
Boner Ecord.
Boner Ecord. Saying it depends. Sorry, Bone. Saying it depends how the reflection is done. The simplest way is to copy the room mirrored. Ray tracing can help with reflections, but it only works on NVIDIA graphics cards. Okay, now, Amar, I want to hear your thoughts more, because you've been a little more... you're on mute.
So, like, again, I kind of talked about movies, but, like, the best thing about games, as we know, as a medium, is that it can kind of place you, like, the whole immersion thing, I think we talked about it before.
For sure.
So having a horror game with immersion like this is really cool. I don't want to go over the style before I even get to the horror part again. But the style is so cool that the first time I looked at it, I didn't move the mouse, and I thought that was going to be I didn't think that was the game, right? Like, and I know you guys probably, like, I know I play the game differently. You guys kind of go into the itch site and, get at everything. I kind of like to go into it, like, without knowing anything.
Sure.
So I didn't even know that was the art style. So I was really, like, shocked when I was able to move around. And then, like, seeing the whole, like, comic book or manga style of, like, the text kind of coming in and out. That was really... And I think that's kind of when they mentioned at the beginning. Mm-hmm. I think maybe a complaint, like, those things, like, move so fast that I actually didn't notice what it said sometimes. But I think the first one says that you need to... there's some story elements that I think I missed. But it does say something about turning off the lights before going to bed. So that was in a way kind of like the objective. I just want to say, like, again, when it comes to I'm surprised, by the way, that I'm the one who, like, really liked it and actually finished it out of you guys, because I usually don't like horror games and stuff like that. Actually, there's a lot of them I actually skipped, and this is one of the few that I beat, but that's for a different reason. But because it's very short, but it's like I don't know. I was trying to go to a point with that, but I forgot now. But I really, like, enjoyed it, and I was able to beat it. And my reaction usually, so I liked. Okay, now I remember. I like the immersion. I like going around. I like hearing the sound and everything.
Yeah.
The scary part is usually what I hate about scary movies, is that to some extent it ends up falling into a trope of some sort. So I was scared walking around knowing that something would happen. And then I open up the door and I see the lanky guy, and I just laugh so hard. Because that is my reaction when I see things like this. I was like, wait a second,
You laugh in the face of horror? That's your, like, natural human reaction?
Yeah.
I recorded it. I recorded it, and
We want to see that clip.
yeah, because it was
sure.
like the loudest laugh, and I just laughed so hard when I saw it. And that's usually my reaction with scary movies. Like they don't scare me. Like the psychology scares me, yeah, but like the actual visions of like scary things, like they do nothing for me, like at all. I just end up
So how
laughing.
did the creature actually look? Because like I know for me when I saw it in the window, I was like, yo, I said it was a spider monkey. Like that shit was like
Yeah.
had like legs and it shit looks sort of. I can see how you say laugh because it did look pretty funny to me too, but it shocked me when I saw it.
Yeah, so I was talking about the like the Slender Man looking thing, I guess, at the beginning.
Yeah.
And-
Looks like a
but then-
Hagrid to me.
Yeah, it was very
Like-
Slender. Yeah.
Like a Hagrid from like Skyrim. Like it's like a lady and she has like long arms.
Yeah.
Like,
It's like a common, like, I guess, like horror trope in a way. But anyway, I just want to say, like, the art style, amazing. Like, the whole comic book style of, like, going around. I think there was a game called, like, is it like 13? Or, like
13,
XI?
yep.
Yeah, so, like, it was, like, it tried to do, like, the comic book style. And I feel like this guy almost did it better. Because in older comic books, or even manga, like, you don't have a lot of colors. So you only use, like, white with, like, red on top of it or stuff like that. So that's kind of like with the red and black style coming into this.
Yeah.
So like I really like the coloring and everything.
It's very
Of course,
effective.
Oh yeah, and also like once I finish the game, I speedrun it because I'm stupid and I like to speedrun games for no reason.
Oh, wow.
So I was just rushing it for no reason, just to be like, okay, these are all the switches, and they're like any percent. I'm wondering if there's any glitches in here, but anyway, I enjoyed the game. I didn't understand the ending, but I wasn't paying that much attention. I was laughing a lot. I gotta say, like, the very end kind of scared me. Michael probably can go deeper into what the very end was, but
Yeah, go
that
ahead.
part,
Spoiler. I want to hear this stuff because I didn't make it very far.
Well, essentially, after you
For
encounter
fair.
the monster in different forms, and one of the craziest ones, I think Layla mentioned it, but just like when you go into a dark room and just see the eyes, the two eyes there, terrifying, super terrifying. But then finally, you go into the bathroom where the aforementioned broken wind mirror is, and the monster's just in the bathtub and just starts talking to you. And what is it? The monster essentially?
How does it say?
It's like it essentially asks you to live with you and to kind of become one, like to I don't know, raise it or just become one with it, sort of thing. And
that part also made me laugh. Again, like I was like, maybe you want to be you want to be my roommate now? Like you gotta pay rent if you're gonna stay here.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I'm not gonna do this for free.
That could be a whole nother game. We should say also that this game is one of 3 games made in 3 weeks, a 3-week long game jam by Triality Games. So that is that those are available.
Really good.
And I just saw that I didn't realize that another game from the same developer, Gregor, I recently played maybe like a month or so ago. It's a pretty cool like third-person stealth game for like PS1 era looking graphics if you're interested in stuff like that. Sorry, Amar, what else were you going to say, my friend?
I forgot what I was going to say.
I'm sorry, I got into the description.
I know.
Bone Record saying, really glad you had fun with the game. Thank you so much for the praise. Yeah, absolutely.
I would say actually. So I remember I usually get more of like the Courage the Cowardly Dog from like Cartoon Network back in the days. So whenever I see anything horror, like I just want to see more of that, I guess. But I don't know. I'm surprised I beat it. Like I beat it and I finished it, and actually, I guess it was that scary. Then I don't know. I'm messed up. I don't know what that says about me.
I love that. We're gonna have to talk some more stuff. I
know,
like that, because I love that your reaction is to laugh in the face of fear. Awesome. Well, guys, we are a talking bunch this week because we're like an hour and 15 minutes into this, and we've only covered 2 games. So we're gonna have to jump to the next one right here, and that is gonna be. Our next game, that also, I should say real quick, Veinless Property, I dropped the link in there. The designer, Tenkayo, thank you so much. Also, Bone Record right here in the Twitch chat. Thank you so much. Let's clap it up again, not only for making this game, but participating in the chat. Really appreciate you so much. Hopefully you can stick around. Give us a follow if you can, and love to have you drop by again anytime you can, for sure. This next game that we are going to cover right here is called Psycho Taxi Rewind. I as I adjust the Twitch labels right here, does anybody want to describe what Psycho Taxi Rewind is?
It's pretty much Crazy Taxi. I'm trying to think of like it's a Crazy Taxi version of the game. The idea is that you're picking up people and then you're dropping off at places and you rack up points as you pick up people and drop them off.
Yeah.
While I was playing the game while I was streaming the game, someone in the chat said that please tell me that this game is called Crazier Taxi, because it was very much that.
Yeah, it was
Craziest Taxi.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's pretty. Yeah, to explain further, like that, it's pretty much the whole concept of like just driving around the city, and in the old days when we had taxis, and you take people from point A and drop them to point B, and then you have to pick up someone else, and it's an arcade game, so you have to see how many people you can deliver, I guess, in a way.
But it's shorter. It's shorter. It's an arcade game, but it's fairly short. Crazy Taxi would give you like 30 minutes to get across, or not 30 minutes, but it had a pretty quick time. This you're looking at like 10 seconds or 15 seconds or less, and there's only the level design is only a down. I don't want to say downstairs, but it's a lower level of the city, and then there's a higher level of the city. So yeah, definitely more arcadey, but shorter in length for sure.
Yeah,
Yep.
and Mystic Titaness saying Crazy Taxi is the best. Yeah, I have so many warm memories of
Hell
Crazy
yeah,
Taxi and
man.
that soundtrack. There was a lot of
Yeah,
memories there.
no, the soundtrack. You mean the one song that kept playing on repeat?
Yeah, whatever.
The one song that kept
Yeah,
playing on
over
repeat.
and over. Even my wife, who's not the biggest gamer, was yelling at when I was telling her about this. She was remembering that. Yeah, exactly. Duration of saying it as well. All right, Layla and Legend have been quiet, so I want to guess where they stand on this game, because I'm not exactly sure. Let's do our little game right here.
I'm gonna say Legend. No, I'm gonna say Legend is a no. We're doing one at a time, or I can do both.
I don't know.
So I
I'm
can do
thinking
Legend,
two.
no. I know Legend's a hard no. Legend is a hard no. I'm thinking maybe Layla might be on the fence,
man.
maybe a little but I think Legend's a hard no.
I
And
think
Layla could be.
I think
either one.
because of the timer aspect, Legend is probably more of a no. That's what I'm going to say right here. I feel like that's in her notebook right now. I'm not sure yet, but we're about to find out. And then Layla, I'm going to be a
I think she
contrarian
liked
here. I'm going to say she liked it. So that's
Yeah.
where I'm standing.
I think she
Legend,
liked it, yeah.
Legend and Layla, who wants to go first and tell us? What did you guys have, by the way?
Yeah.
You guys both had no's?
No, I said I had no for Legend, yes for Layla. So same thing as
Okay, and
Two
Amara
no's.
has both no's.
Two
Okay,
no's.
She
Yeah.
know for both.
let's hear it.
Okay. Which one's first?
Layla, would you
Okay,
like to go first?
I'm gonna go first. Okay. Yeah. So I can't drive. Y'all saw that on Wheels of Aurelia. So let's just start there. So definitely the timer aspect. I raged, obviously. So I mean, nothing against the game. It's just I'm bad at getting from point A to point B. Apparently, using a vehicle. So that's in real life and virtually. I just get angry. So I mean, it's a good game. It's just not for me. You know.
So right now Omar is right. Right now, Omar's
So where
winning
would you
that
put it?
opinion.
Hold on, I'm not done yet with Layla. I think I want to hear what Layla would be. So
I
would
think
you
it's
give it a thumbs up
fun.
or a thumb down?
Thumbs
I
up
would
or
give
thumbs
it
down?
I would give it a thumbs up. Yes.
Okay,
Alright.
so me and
Yes,
Mike are in the play.
But
That's right.
Now we
I mean,
both
it-
said Legend is a no. Legend is definitely
Come
a no.
on, no pressure, Legend.
Legend's a no. You can tell by what she
So you can't run over the people.
You can.
You can't.
You can, but you only have 10 seconds, so they don't.
Yeah.
And they try to
Yeah.
scoot out your way.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like that's your first
not how you
complaint.
play the game.
Of all the things you could be saying about
And
the
then like it was weird. I didn't look at the README file,
There's
so
a-
I didn't know what was going on.
Right,
It
funny
wasn't
you
about, like, okay. First off, arrow keys are hard. All right, so arrow keys were hard. The people again, they dive bomb out of your way. The women in the bikinis, I don't know, they made me uncomfortable.
This is so oddly specific. I really wish you wrote a review about this.
It made me uncomfortable. Driving up the ramp was hard. And then I realized the clock extends your time. And also I realized when you pick up the people, you have to take them to the big green circle thing or follow the 3D arrow.
Well, that might be a legend.
Did you
had played Crazy Taxi before?
No, I have not. So this was new to me. I drove into the water because I missed. I went up the ramp and I missed the spot. So I drove in the water, but I ran out of time. So I kind of got stuck in the beach. And then I tried to go up the ramp, but like I couldn't do it, and then the car just like
the women can't drive.
Just a quick.
We're not helping right now. We're both Filipino.
It looked like a Pikachu. The taxi looked like a Pikachu, so that was cute, But it was, I'm gonna say hard no. I didn't like it. Was weird.
Oh, me and Mike were right. Hell yeah.
I couldn't it was. I didn't. It was weird. It was that ramp you see right there. Like I couldn't. And how it was weird. Like they wound up the car, and then she I thought that was cute. The bikini women made me uncomfortable.
So one thing, ironically, I'll say this is a game that I should have liked. I do very much enjoyed Crazy Taxi. It might have been my gaming rig. I don't really know. I actually had a lot of performance issues. The car to me was like Octodad style. Like I kept flipping the car over plenty of times. I noticed that there was a short draw distance. Like you only had like one car in front of you draw distance. The time limit, there was a flaw in the time limit that limited you to not really knowing if the person needed to be dropped off on the up side of town or the down side of town. So you'll based off the arrow. So you'll sit there and spend like all your time driving to the lower portion, but realizing you got to drop them off on the upper portion. I was able to get about 3 people. Like I said, maybe it was a performance issue with my desktop or something. I don't know, but it was like the controls were like really sort of spacey. It was definitely nothing like the controls weren't as tight knit as Crazy Taxi. But definitely had the same vibe. But I was I did about 3 people. I think my score was about 5,023.
I feel you.
What was your score, Mike?
Like 9,000.
It was
over 9,000.
Yeah, it was over 9,000. I really enjoyed this, and I gotta say,
serious?
Not only did I really love the visuals, but one thing that I thought was cool, and you guys can maybe remind me, I don't remember if this was in Crazy Taxi or not, but see how it on the screen right there it just said game over? Like if you get to the landing point where you need to take a passenger, even if the screen says game over, once it recognizes that you were in that area, it throws that extra time on you. And I think that's a small little thing. It might have not even been intentional from the get-go. I'm not actually sure, but it adds like so much fun and tension to it that you're like, no, it's over. And then suddenly it's like you got your time extension, and then you can keep on going. And so that's how I was able to get a solid score that way. I love the aesthetic. I love the wind-up nature of it. You can hit people and get points. I will say from the
that was funny. Like I tried. Yeah. Well, I thought so I didn't realize like the premise of the game was like to collect people and take them to their destination. I don't know why. I know it says taxi, but for some reason it just didn't. So when I was first driving it, I thought that the game was over because I hit too many people, right? At first, because I was just like, okay, this is like GTA, whatever, because I saw like, I pulled into Mar, like I didn't look at anything, I didn't really read anything, like I had the link, but I didn't do much with it,
I hate to
maybe try to look for the Twitter and stuff, and that was it. But
I feel
nitpicking on this game, but like I noticed that the time limit for you to drop a person off at their time zone or at their place was actually always longer than the time it was for you to actually pick up another person. So it was easy. If once I pick up a person and I drop them off, that's fine. The hard part was trying to find another person to pick up, and I always found the time limit would go up.
Yep.
Yo,
That
the hard part was using the arrow keys to drive. That was the
I
hard
bet, man.
part.
I used to
I think I used
I did
controller.
that.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I used
You
controller.
could use
yeah.
controller, but I was lazy and I didn't feel like having to look for a USB to hook it to the thing to do the whatever. And
Yeah.
If you have an Xbox like type controller, like especially like,
Yeah, like
with the vibration, like for me that was really the best part. Like I know we kind of talked about controls
Yeah.
and stuff like that, but really the best
Yeah.
part is like the vibration of the controller and the unrealistic and fun idea that you can turn in the air. So sometimes like I was jumping off of a cliff and I was
Yeah.
still turning. It's a small
I was
thing.
turning too, but I wasn't trying to.
So, did
That's
anybody
fair.
else had their car flip upside down? I've
Yeah.
had that. Like,
Oh yeah,
Okay.
I drowned
Yeah.
myself in the ocean. I flipped upside down.
What happened when you got into the ocean? How far would it let you drive?
You can go. Okay, so I also did this in the 9 o'clock game. I also went into the ocean there too, but that's something different. And so you could just go like as far as like the 10, 15 seconds allotted. You couldn't really go to. It was almost like an
Gotcha.
invisible
Oh, so
wall
you
at the
could-
end,
you
but
would-
you could go
until
to where
your
at
time
least
ran
like it went like the deep end. Like you could go because I was submerged. In the ocean.
Mystic's asking if
Fully.
there was a killer whale in the ocean. What did you find? Did you discover anything
You know
out
what?
there?
I almost fell. Had the time not run out, I probably would have tried to find out.
Man, I think it's really hard to believe that maybe I had performance issues. I'm looking at the video right now, and this thing looks like it performs way smoother. But it's so
Yeah.
crazy to believe that I can play Halo on my desktop.
Yeah,
but not
sometimes
play
the
this
way
game.
games could be optimized or yeah.
Bro, it was super fast. Like this, my arrow keys were like, I was like, yo, how do I slow this thing down? Is there like an easy?
I swear, I got a lot of pop.
So
Also, like, this looks
The
smooth.
car
I
kept
got a
taking
lot
off, and I was
yeah.
like, what? You know what? I don't know. Was there even mouse sensitivity? I didn't even look. I just went straight like keyboard. I didn't even like
Yeah.
look at nothing because I was like, yo, how the hell do I move this car in the first place? I'm like clicking my mouse and touching the space bar. Nothing was happening. Then I was like, duh, arrow keys. So
Yeah,
then,
no,
arrow
that's
keys
one
and
thing about the
stuff.
control. I actually really like the controls, but I would say like I would have liked. There was really only kind of like one way like to ramp down. I mean, I guess there was like two ways to kind of go up and down the kind of different levels, but it was kind of like you almost had to kind of rub against the geometry in a weird way to kind of hit like a specific part of the tops of the buildings. And I wish that was a little bit more defined, and maybe they added a little bit more to this. I love King of the Nerds has a thought that I shared as well, asking, he says, OMG, I wonder if I could configure my racing wheel to work on this, LOL. Yeah, I was totally thinking the same thing. I think that would be really cool. Yeah.
But it was cute game though. It was really brightly colored. Like I didn't even need my ring light. It was so bright. I was just like, ooh, okay.
I love the graphics.
You know, because I'm a super light skin.
Amar, how did you think about the gameplay?
I mean, it kind of knew what it is. It's kind of like the modern version of what a Flash game is, right? Like it's kind of like gave us like a old school feel of what Crazy Taxi is.
Yeah.
I didn't play Crazy. I didn't own Crazy Taxi, so I didn't really play the original much. But I played the Simpson Hit and Run, I think, which was pretty much just a ripoff. It's just around the same city. Yeah, again, like the only hard part was actually finding people to drive around. I feel like that part, like sometimes with the colors, like I couldn't even see any circles. So I would like look at people, and people are just like, just running around. I'm like, come on, let me give someone a ride. But I admit that feeling of it's almost like the arcadey feeling of like driving and then having like the checkpoint line
extended.
and like. And then like getting time extended, and like the other person you're racing with, like you both get like a free chance to play. That is the best feeling in this game.
Yeah.
Like the time was running out, and then I was able to play some more, and that was really cool. I don't know, like the game kind of knew what it was. Like there's not much. It's like it's Crazy Taxi in a mini city. I wish they did more with the whole tiny city thing. Like I know the taxi itself has like the toy feeling to it, but I wish everything had like a toy city feeling to it some more. But I don't know, I enjoyed it. It is what it is. It's kind of hard to like come up with anything negative when the game knows what it's trying to be. And it's really nailing that. It has some glitches here and there, but like that's part of the experience, I guess.
Yeah, I feel you on
It
that.
was an experience.
And I feel like Legend, I think part of it also has to do with I didn't actually think about it until you started talking about your experience that some of these games just kind of assume that you like are in on the joke or whatever, that this is a Crazy Taxi reference and that's emulating that gameplay. But now that I think about it, if you have never played Crazy Taxi and you don't know exactly where the circles are emanating from, it could be initially frustrating. I feel you.
It was again like I mentioned, I was thinking of Tony. I was like, dude, where's the README file? Like, was there a README file? Like, I was gonna look back and see if I could find one because it didn't really give you any. Like, it just automatically, it automatically assumed you knew what type of game that it was. You knew the mechanics to it. You knew to play it with controller. Like, there wasn't really any sort of, controllers preferred. You should play this. Use over the head headphones. Like how most games are very specific on how you should play it. So instructions, I think, would have been nice, or at least a little bit of a indication that you would have to like an image or something where it was the arrow keys or controller icon or something. Because I just kind of like assumed you knew what was going on. It took me like a minute to figure out. Like, you don't hit the people necessarily. Your job is to pick them up and take them to their destination. Like,
I love that's where your instincts were to go Carmageddon with it.
I was like, is that what I'm supposed to do?
That is wild.
I mean, that's...
It didn't hate me for it, so I was like, alright.
Yeah, you got points for it.
That's like the whole point. Because there was a game, I think, a long time ago, like, on PC. Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah. I'm sliding in with those historical deep cuts.
Right,
it's my favorite thing to do for the handful of people that recognize these ridiculous.
I love that game. That was the only game I had on PC.
Yeah, there was I remember when that came out, people were terrified that people were going to start accidentally or by playing it, they were actually going to start hitting people in real life just by trying to score points.
Violent, video game violence.
Yeah, exactly.
That's demented if someone does that.
That's ridiculous.
So, question about the gameplay for those who played Crazy Taxi. Did you get like multipliers when you were hitting boxes in Crazy Taxi, or is this a new thing in this game? Because I found out a little bit late that the more people or boxes and things you hit around, the higher your score goes. And I tried to. I didn't really spend a lot of time, maximizing my score or anything like this with this game. I was kind of I kind of knew what it was and I kind of stopped. I'm not high score time based guy, but I
forgot.
I wasn't sure if that was a thing in the original one or not, because that's just a cool concept.
Maybe somebody in the chat can answer that.
You couldn't hit people, that's for sure. Because in Crazy Taxi, they literally always jumped out the way.
They always ran
so it was impossible to hit people. I don't remember bonuses? If you in Crazy Taxi, if you hit other cars, I don't know about mailboxes and stuff, but if you hit other cars, it actually subtracted from the time.
Yeah, that makes sense. I remember that too.
Damage and whatnot. Okay. Doritos saying Crazy Taxi had a stunt bonus. Oh yeah, I think if you jumped over things.
When you flipped the car that.
When you went down San Francisco's hill or whatever the city was, it was similar to that.
Simple days.
Yeah.
I think games like this can just not exist anymore now that we have open world games that have something like this. Like GTA has a taxi mode inside it, right? It's really hard for it was just crazy because this game is and I was saying that in the stream, is like someone made pretty much a Crazy Taxi, almost Crazy Taxi, I don't know, unpolished whatever. And back in the days, that was like a launch game, that's a big deal. And now it's this is just an itch.io, indie developer. It's just times changed with how we are going. But anyway, that's just something I wanted to know.
I feel you on that. I feel like games like this have in a short burst like this have a place, but I feel you that they're almost incorporated into other games. Mystic also saying apparently that I guess based on how fast you go, that would also give you a bonus in Crazy Taxi. Darcy Bulba's asking if that's kind of like a Tony Hawk setup. And Mystic is also saying, Mystic coming here with the deep Crazy Taxi knowledge, saying, I think if you don't hit other cars, you get a multiplier along with drifting. I know there was, there was 3 Crazy Taxis, right? I think formally. I need to
3 Crazy to really? Man, I'm old. I thought it was only 1.
Went to Xbox afterward. Awesome. Well, for the sake of time, I think we need to jump because we still have 2 more games here. So everybody, that was That was Psycho Taxi Rewind. Did I drop the link in here? Let me drop it one more time just in case if you wanna check it out. It was done by, I like how it says created and rushed by Panda Indie Studio. So definitely check out their work. I actually played the author Arabong. I actually recently played another game they made called Harvest Doom that I thought was interesting to check out. So shout out to the dev there. All right, let's transition over here to Lieve Oma. I hope I'm pronouncing. That is in Dutch, and that stands for Dear Grandma, from my understanding. Let's talk
that makes sense.
about this game. Let me read a quick couple sentences description, and then we'll get right into it. I know Layla definitely has some thoughts on this. I remember she was messaging me about that this gave her the feels for sure. It says right here, the description. My grandmother is probably the most important person ever to me, as she provided me with the stability and care a child needs growing up. We all have or have had people helping us become a responsible and caring person, and this short narrative game is an ode to these people. Also, shout out to the dev who, Florian Veltman, who also works on, I think I'm getting this right, on Monument Valley as well, if I'm correct there. Let me pull it up. Yeah, Monument Valley 2 was a designer on Monument Valley 2. Monument Valley, of course, is a phenomenal series. If you haven't played it, I highly recommend that as well. All right, folks, let's jump into Lieve Oma here. What are y'all's thoughts about this?
I thoroughly enjoyed this game. I definitely there is a README file, but it's actually a picture, and the guy says like, "Hey, this is about me and my grandma and our memories that we've had in the past." So that it sets the tone of the game. It's a memoir, sort of somewhat. But definitely, I really enjoyed the game. A lot of aspects of it. Very touching story. Very touching story. Question: was really the game was about? Was there like a hidden message with the fact that you had to collect mushrooms with your grandma and eat them, or later on have them for dinner?
Good question about that.
I feel as though it wasn't so much about the task that you were doing, it was the time being spent with your grandmother.
Yeah,
I don't think it was really necessarily, y'all could have been doing anything, but when you're playing, like, first of all, I told Mike earlier, I was like, if there's a world record for a game that's ever made me cry the fastest, it's literally this one. Yes, this one, because I'm a feeler. Like that's why I love when we do visual novels, because I look for that. I look for the emotion that's meant behind the whole visual novel. So like, I immediately was walking, like playing the game, just like everybody else, and I just got this sad feeling of, because the kid is going through stuff, you know, and then so like the kid lashes out at their grandmother, and I took it so personally, because like when I was going through things like with my life, I was like that. I was lashing out without intentionally doing that, because I'm a kid and I'm trying to like process adult feelings or adult situations as a child. So it's like the grandma's sitting there trying to be there for the kid, and they're like lashing out, and so I immediately like cried, and I literally called my grandma after I played this game. Like, because I was just like, I'm so, like, I miss them, because your grandparents, they are there when you're born. Like, they're there. I just took it to a whole, like, the actual meaning of it. Like, I felt all of it, and I love it. Like, that's what I love so much about visual novels, is because you can put yourself in them and, like, assess and, like, really feel the emotions that are meant behind the whole actual, like, game.
I like how it jumped between different time periods. So like it's a memoir. It's talking about like the idea of like, you spend time with your grandmother, and specifically the reason why the issue is that I think you moved, and you're dealing with issues of moving, school, and friends at the school.
Separating.
So you feel and your parents separating, and you can't actually speak to your mom or dad. So instead, you have a better relationship with your grandma. And so the idea is that this person is recalling his memories of these walks, ironically collecting mushrooms and eating them with his grandmother. But the idea is that it's a very, very intricate time between him and his grandmother, and it's talking about the fact that he could not speak to his parents at the time.
I thought it was actually a girl. I don't know why. I guess it's never told, right? Whether it's.
I thought it was a guy, man. I figured it was a guy. I swear I thought it was a
it was
guy.
a boy too.
Really?
Yeah, I
Okay.
just assumed dude because the blue cloak, so I just kind of went there with like the thing. I do like how when it sort of fast forward to first off, Lola can hike. Okay, I don't know where they go to find these mushrooms, but Lola can track. Okay, like I don't know about anyone else's grandmother. Like mine probably could have like made it, but still, like that's a hiker. That's an athletic Lola for sure. Go foraging for food. Like
she can't make it. Like there's a point in the story.
Where when he revisits the walk, I think maybe it seemed like it was almost like I kind of went a little deep too. To me, it was more almost like a ritual that he did just to sort of clear his mind to get his thoughts right. Was to go to the same place, and I think that when you go to the Blue Heron, because they missed it at that, the meeting where he's, reminiscing sort of in the memory. They missed it, so to have it there and then have at first, I didn't know it was a phone ringing. I didn't know there was a phone ringing. I just buzz. For a second, I thought it was mine, to be quite honest with you, because the vibrations was pretty real, and then I saw the animation, and then it just happened to be the Lola saying that she couldn't go there and couldn't do the stuff. So it was cool to have that vibe, that feeling. It was really neat that even after all this time, they still have a very close relationship. So that was cool. And the footsteps in the snow, I thought that was a super friendly touch.
Beautiful.
I was getting a little frustrated though, because I knew it wasn't like Layla was saying, I knew it wasn't the mushroom wasn't the part of the story, but all of them were rotted except for how are you supposed to make some sauce with a mushroom that you just
How many did you guys get?
Yeah, how big is that mushroom?
I got 3 of them.
I think it was 3 or 4 of them. So I definitely got a
did
good
you
portion.
Oh my god.
No, dude, that's I call bullshit.
I got 8 that I kept.
Sure got 3.
And then I think I kept 8, and then I think I got some. I collected maybe 12 or 13 total.
Yeah, I got 3 or 4.
Foraging through the whole forest because I would just stick it to the path. I don't know, Leo. I didn't find
I
many
to the path too. But what I can say is that this is the game that I was saying that was very freaking impressive in the environment and how the environment told the story. There is a certain point, I think it's on the second memory, where you get to a pond and you actually can walk up to the pond and you see the reflection of yourself and you see the reflection of the trees. And just knowing how complex that is to perform, and for an indie developer in a game, it was just amazing. But yeah, I thought that was ray tracing, but it's not. But
the visuals were awesome. Shout out Mystic Tightness on the chat is saying it's a pretty color game. Also saying that's interesting. I would go hunting mushrooms with my grandma. Oh, that's awesome.
Really?
Duration saying I adore this game. I assume this game was autobiographical, and the dev does use the he/him pronouns. Okay, thanks for letting us know, because I don't think I fully caught that. Mystic also saying. Collecting any amount of mushrooms would make a memory while with your grandma. Heart, absolutely.
I mean, is that a thing though? I don't know. I never really went. I mean, I was a Boy Scout, so I went to the forest and stuff. But it was never a thing to collect mushrooms for consumption. Was that a something?
Foraging is totally a thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's also culturally too, Polish culture. Yeah, that's a big part of it.
Mushrooms. Okay.
Yeah.
Also, this game is Swedish or something, so you kind of expect. Well, where is the developer from?
Yeah, it's a Dutch game.
Yeah, so
get those mushrooms.
That was truffle hunting, right?
The derivative is savage right here. He's get those magic mushrooms and really make memories with grandma.
Oh my god!
I totally thought it was a metaphor. I thought you're really going to salvage mushrooms in a forest.
Mushrooms is an odd option.
Yeah, at the end of the game, your grandma tells you. I don't know if you guys got the same thing, but she'll tell you what recipe you can do. She was we can make a risotto or this or that. Then she's or we can get really fucked up.
They go to the mushroom hut. You know what I'm saying?
You can see what grandma really does.
They go to hot box stuff.
Oh my god! You want to have a trip? They're going on a real trip, okay?
Yeah, exactly. Mystic.
I these forest vibes, yo.
Mystic, was that your experience
You
as
can
well
see the
with
plants
Grandma?
breathing.
Well, I do suspect it was you collect eating mushrooms to eat them, because at one point she literally says like, "Yo, this is really gonna help us with dinner tonight or dinner
Yeah.
this evening." So
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, I guess you're not smelling mushrooms. I guess you are eating them if you're collecting them.
You're not snorting them, Tony.
Yeah,
You're
not
just
G
on the inhalants there, buddy.
Darth Sabalba saying mushrooms with a little G Fuel, and Derivative saying step back. Grandma is tasting
my
colors.
gosh.
Oh, I love our chat so much.
Mushrooms with a little G fuel. Oh my gosh.
Amar, I know you had more to say about it. What are your other thoughts?
Well, let me get my hat really quick.
Oh
for this.
no!
Oh, no, you cannot be hating on Lola, bro.
It's
You
a-
Lola hater. No,
It's an
bro.
L hat. Chill. It's an L hat. Well, it's a reverse.
Oh, there we go. I love it.
Okay, I changed it.
We both got the L hats on.
No, this is. I mean, again, how can? It's impossible to hate this game because
Yeah.
you can. Well, like, it's very sweet and everything. At the same time, it is like super personal in a way
Very
that like the opinion of anyone just does not. Like the developer made it for themselves in a way. Like
Yeah.
it's like a dedication message. Like if someone comes, like anyone who can say like they didn't like the game, that's just on them. Like they just didn't have the same experience, right? Like you just cannot judge a game like this, and it is very personal. This is really the definition of indie games, right? Like this is exactly the experiences that we get that you cannot get from any kind of company. You cannot, even if you get like I don't know, like more than two people working together, it's just you will not be able to get an experience like this.
Great point.
Without it being something super personal. I really love the game. In a way, I almost like wish it didn't have a story, just so we would get like the element of. Geez, I have it in my notes. What is the almost like it was like the Far From Noise style. I almost wanted it to be like a self-reflection game, right? Like because I was walking around. Yeah, they were talking about personal things, and the kids start opening up about issues that they were having. Some issues I didn't like relate to at all. But even the best part was just the walking with there was nothing being said. Just by doing that, honestly, I just spent some time just reflecting my own life. Especially now with COVID, like we all worried. Like same thing. I ended up texting my mom. Like she's elderly and all that. So like I was like, okay, this is important now. But yeah, same idea. Like just walking around, appreciating the small things, appreciating the people around us, and it's beautiful. Like it's a beautiful game. Music is awesome as well, and again, we tried to go into the story of like him being there by himself, walking in places to like remember what things are like. I get that part. I've been living in Charlotte now for so long, and every once in a while I go to a place that I have some memories in.
Yeah.
And so, like, I was driving by Monroe Road, actually.
Yeah.
And I think there was Independence High School and stuff and there was the complex across the street from it. All of that is gone, so you can kind of like drive on the same road. And I was driving in it, and I was like, yeah, I used to remember, going on this road. It's different now, but it still, in a way, feels the same. And you kind of get all these experiences. So I get why he would go in again by himself, just to take that walk. It's more than just, a walk by himself. It's just, kind of sometimes just needs some time to reflect. But yeah, it's an awesome game, and it captured that feeling. And I don't know, just go out there and text the people close to you in your life. While you have them.
Now's a good time, for sure. We got a couple more comments in the chat. Mystic Titan is saying we would collect mushrooms and make them in stews and breakfast. That sounds good. Derivative saying I first played this about a year ago, and the first thing I did the next morning was put it on the laptop for the kids to play. That's I feel you on that. Darth Bulba saying it's a walk through his own memory. I thought one of the parts that hit me also was like when you get the flash forward and you see yourself as an older kid or early adult, whatever it may be, that you're driving now. I actually at first I thought, oh no, is grandma not around anymore? That was like my immediate thought. But I like that kind of like serene kind of solitary walk that you take. Legend, you mentioned this earlier. I think that the bird that was referenced, you get a chance to see it. I like that there was like not actually any attention drawn to it. I really like that it wasn't like you interact with it or you like stop and say, hey, that's that bird. It was just like, if you notice it, you do. If you don't, you don't. And I really thought that was like just beautiful. It's there that you as a player kind of just feel like, okay, I actually listen to grandma and I'm taking a moment to think about this. And I really love that part. And just seeing how you clearly, you know, like we don't know what the character is going through as an adult, but you're making it in life, you know, as your grandma said, like things get better, you'll see sort of situation. And then just talking to your grandma on the phone, I thought was really cool. And just, it's a beautiful game. It's a beautiful game. I love this aesthetic. It reminds me of Short Hike. Of course, the Short Hike came out, I believe, after, but still, I absolutely love this aesthetic. Mystic saying, when I picked, I would show to grandma and she would just say yes or no. Certain colors I stayed away from, or if they had mold.
That's good.
Mystic, you gotta play this game. This game is made for you. Like,
that's what I was telling you too. I was like, she would definitely enjoy it.
Absolutely.
Regarding number of mushrooms, like I didn't even know what the mushroom would look like, and I didn't know any. Yeah, well, I missed that for whatever reason, and I only picked 2, and I think that's kind of part of the enjoyment too. Is like when you are walking with her, you are somewhat free to do whatever you want to do as a kid. So you don't have to pick them up. You can just run away. She will just wait for you.
Yeah.
Or you can, because I'm such a software developer, you can try to block her path just to see how she would walk like around you to like test that theory, and she would actually just slowly kind of like take a different path and still kind of stay on her like on her direction.
So, here's one thing I would tell people not to get worried of. Like, she actually does walk, so the game is real time and you can actually see her walk. I mean, I walk behind her majority of the time, but there was one point at the very beginning where I swore she teleported, because I was like, "Holy crap!" She gets you. But you can actually, if you
it's those mushrooms, dude.
Yeah, those mushrooms.
No, you can physically see her walking slow to get to the spot. So that's pretty cool.
Gotcha.
Mystic saying they're not easy to find. Only certain seasons and locations would grow some mushrooms. Yeah, definitely for those who are looking to like start picking mushrooms. As I know from my mom and like the Polish like generations of family who loves doing that. Like, you don't pick any poisonous mushrooms if you're gonna do this.
Right.
Take it seriously.
Did not everyone not have like that one thing that or a couple things that they did just with their grandma, like, or their Lola, or like, you know, because like mine, I feel like everybody has that one thing or a couple things that they do with their Lola, their grandma, their, like, you know, because we would go every weekend, me and my grandparents and like my sister and my cousins, we would all go fishing. Like, that was our thing. We go camping and fishing every weekend with my grandparents. So it's like that was like one of those things where you just have those things that you do with your grandparents. I don't know if that's
awesome.
Everyone.
Mine was cooking. We used to do a lot of Spanish dishes with my grandma. I'll get around the kitchen and just cook together.
Yeah, I haven't seen my grandmother. The only surviving grandparent I have is still in Poland. That's how, you know, my family like straight up came in the 80s. So like, yeah, I have memories of like that, and when I used to regularly go visit like during summers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is cool to think about, those like the interactions we have, because as we get older and think about those things, and you know, half of us have kids here on the show, so it's like, you know, thinking about that stuff that will eventually be grandparents, and we'll probably interact with grandchildren differently than our own kids, and we kind of see those. It adds some layers to it. Yeah.
Yep. I definitely, like I said, a lot of this stuff resonated with me with this particular game, so I definitely loved it. Like, as I usually do with like when we do visual novels. It really hit harder than I thought it was gonna hit.
Yeah.
Like I said, I called Lola and I was like, "I miss you." When are we? Like, 'cause she lives like 3 hours away. I was like, "Okay, I gotta go see my grandparents soon."
I love that. Legend, how about you? Any other thoughts you wanna share on this one?
No, I mean I loved it.
Yeah.
I thought the artwork was beautiful. The story was beautiful. It wasn't really like a game. I don't know if I would really like call it a game. You know what I mean? It was just sort of like an experience.
Yeah.
To me, it really did remind me of. I guess the game aspect was collecting the mushrooms. I did not know.
Yeah, I mean, kind of, sort of, but it was
not-
still like just. It was cool.
Yeah, it reminded me of a memoir. Like, and it was very touching. It didn't, necessarily connect or relate to a whole lot with me, but I'm like, wow, it was just the way the story was told, jumping back and forth in time periods and stuff was just really good. And then the environment was beautiful.
Yeah, and I don't think it was overbearing in any area. Like it's just like
Mm-mm.
told like it's kind of a simple but relatable kind of tale, and in a way that is really approachable.
I mean, I think. Go ahead.
So
No, again, like I said, like it gave us a lot of time in like just silent moments where all we did was just walk around.
exactly.
And we have like I think one of gosh, what is the Hideo Kojima game that came out after Metal Gear Solid? Death Stranding. So it's
Yeah.
almost like with Death Stranding, it has got like similar idea where like minimizing the things that happen around you can actually like maximize what you're doing. It kind of makes you to like kind of soak in what's around you. So like just walking slowly with no talking, no nothing. Honestly, that part I felt is so personal because I feel like those were the parts where you were like, okay, I know there will eventually be quote unquote story happening here, but as you are seeing these nuggets of like things that you might have done with your grandparents and stuff like that, you start to reflect on things that you did on your own.
Yeah.
And I just love that's for me, that was the game part that's just that you cannot get from other mediums like that.
Yeah.
Just it's not suspense, I don't know what the word is, but it's just like nothing happening. This is just your time. Something will happen later, but
Yeah,
take
I
your
love
time
what
now.
you said there because that's true. Like because like it's like a level of pacing that you can achieve in games that you can't in other mediums.
Sure.
Because like in other like auteur-based experiences that don't incorporate interactivity, you have to be very mindful of the pacing and kind of have a one-size-fits-all solution to pacing for the general public. But in this case, as to your point, Amar, like you kind of give the player the opportunity to pace themselves, which that's a great point.
And there's a simple task to do it, right? Like it's just the walking around, right?
Exactly.
Like you don't have to. You can just stop and like stop the whole thing, but you kind of like you still feel like you are engaged by just walking around, which is super simple. So
I feel you on that.
Beautiful.
So
I
last
like
thing
this game a lot. So
it seems like we all were really we all love this one.
Yeah.
So one thing I guess was obvious probably to you all, but it just hit me while we were talking and I was watching this video on the side, is I forgot that it's the same car parked in the exact same position at the beginning of the game as it is the end. I just realized that kind of like red and yellow little fence is there. Small touch, but it's really cool. Yeah. Mystic on the chat saying me and my grandma would play Kirby and lots of Super Nintendo games. I love that. Mike Bierman Death Machine saying I own Death Stranding but never finished it.
Same honestly,
Yeah.
which is really sad. I have a wall of Hideo Kojima like stuff, and I still never finished Death Stranding, and I don't think I will.
Yeah, his stuff is it can be a bit verbose. I love it.
One thing that I guess it's more of a personal thing, but I really love the annoying part of getting the text yelling at you, asking if you are okay, like at the very end, as if like, which is something that I know I will miss eventually.
Yeah.
But it is something that I also hate, is like when people who love us just try to check on us and be like, hey, you haven't texted us, are you home yet, or whatever. I'm like,
that's a totally relatable
like
point.
my mom does that when I like I tell her like, hey, I'm gonna come in and visit today, and like as soon as I arrive there, I check my phone after driving, and it's like I see a text like 10 minutes ago telling me like, are you okay? It's like, I'm driving, and I know it's a silly thing, but I know it's just like one of those beautiful things in life. It's between that and my parents try to like overfeed me, but that's just personal things, like the whole like take food home with you, that kind of thing. Yeah. Anyway, I'll stop reflecting on my own things. So it's just a beautiful game, and honestly made me think about a lot of these things. So
I love that. Well, for those who are watching, definitely, I would say strongly consider playing this one. Let me see if I dropped the link in here. If I haven't, I'll drop it one more time. Again, the game is called Lieve Oma. Hopefully I'm pronouncing Oma correctly. That means Dear Grandma in Dutch. Definitely worthwhile experience for sure. Let's go ahead and go to our final game of the night, if that is cool with you all. And that is 9.03M, which represents a 9 magnitude earthquake that hit Japan in 2011. Let me do a real quick change over on the Twitch tags, and then we will and I'll read you guys a description here. One moment here, folks. Let's see if we got it. Yep, we got the Twitch tags updated. So 9.03M. Let me actually pull up. The itch page actually has more information than the Steam page. So let me pull that up real quick and I'll read that to everybody. So 9.03M is a short first-person art/empathy game. For PC. Not a game in the traditional sense of the word. I think it's interesting that they write that even in their own description. It aims to humanize and remember the victims of the 2011 Japanese tsunami. The media is quick to put figures to death tolls in such disasters, and 9.03M tries to remind people of the individuals behind those figures. The game is set on Baker Beach in San Francisco, where debris from the tsunami has washed ashore in the years following the tsunami.
Wow.
And that's the game, and that's also, I think, that's actually a reference in reality. Unfortunately, that was happening for years in the California, all of the American West Coast was finding debris based on the tide and the movement of the ocean.
I actually did not read the description, but when I played the game and got to the end and figured out exactly what it was referencing, it hit really hard. Essentially, the entire game, you're going from point A to point B, and you're looking at objects that are washed up against shore, and you're following. In order to get to point A to point B, you're following a path of butterflies. And when you pick up an item, you're specifically looking for a butterfly logo or emblem embedded on the actual item. I didn't really understand everything that Mike just said until the end, where they were like, yeah, this is actually referencing a tsunami that happened in Japan. And yeah, people literally were finding objects of other individuals that were affected by a tsunami on the shoreline of Cali, which is really interesting and
it's
really
wild.
sad.
Absolutely wild to think about. What were y'all's experiences with this one? As the description said, it kind of felt like an art piece in many ways, and there wasn't much as far as the gameplay mechanically. Tony, sorry, go ahead.
No, one thing I missed out on is just a very, very important key component. You're following the butterflies to get to point A to point B. When you get to point A, you actually see like a person, a shadow of a person, or a ghost of a person standing there. When you get closer, you find out it's an actual item that you have to identify where the butterfly is on that item. Yeah. So that even hits a little bit of home, is that the idea is that you're following these shadows of people, but when you physically get to the point, you see an item that washes ashore. And then when I figured out at the end that that it was about the tsunami that hit, you're looking at all the casualties and all the things that people washed up against shore that they owned.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the ending was the most powerful part of it all. Yeah. Put like the size and scope of the earthquake and subsequent tsunami in perspective. Everyone else, what are your thoughts about this?
I just want to say I didn't actually play the game, so sorry.
No, all good.
Sorry.
Yeah. We should say it's probably. I think I initially told you guys the length of it, but I was off on that. Even I think it's like 10 or 15
No, you
minutes.
did give me the link. I completely missed it from the list.
Oh, so. all good.
If you so there are butterflies that lead you to item to item to item. So like honestly, I do think it's considerably less than 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Like if you know to follow the butterflies, and if you know when you get to an actual item to look around the item to see where the butterfly logo is. Does anybody know what the significance of butterflies were in this particular circumstance?
I was wondering the same.
Is there a lot of butterflies?
I don't think there was I think my general understanding was that the butterflies were just sort of like just a representation of like just the memorial really that it stands for. I mean, butterflies, souls, you know what I mean, that type of thing. So I thought it was more of like a spiritual sort of essence than anything else. But I mean, I liked it. I liked the way that the sound sounded when you stepped on it. It was like you were really walking on a beach, which was
Sounds
nice.
cool.
Most games don't have that sort of extra mechanic. You just sort of walk. You know, there's no specific sound to it. So I went to the first spot, got the soccer ball, everything was cool. But I guess from like the soccer ball to the next point, like for some reason it didn't click on me to like hit E. Like I was a little confused because I didn't notice that it was a ring on the ground. I just thought it was like a circle. I don't know what happened from point A to point B, but I got a little thing, so hence me walking into the ocean because I was like, I wonder what happens if you do this. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, am I in the right
That's a
spot?
common
And I saw
theme
like
here.
the wave go down, and it separated. So I was like, oh, I wonder if I can go down this way, and you can't. So you basically like you don't die, you just like fall asleep and you wake up in the same spot.
What? Wait. So the game is about a tsunami that hit, and then everything's rushing up inshore, and somehow I had no idea that you can walk into the ocean, and you're saying that
sort of like as you're walking. Well, here's the thing though: as you're walking towards the water, your character starts to kind of get drowsy. So like the eyes sort of start to fall, and then it just goes all dark, and then you just kind of wake up again. And then I realized, duh, you hit E, because in most games, you know, when you go up to like whatever, it tells you again to touch the thing. So I guess I was just waiting for it to tell me again, like what to do. I don't know. And then I hit the E, and I found the key. You had to have really like be specific about the butterfly on the ring, though, because that was kind of hard to click.
That was hard to click. It was in the README file. No, I'm just joking. There was no.
Dude, right? I'm like, from now on, I'm like, should I be looking at this shit? Like, should we be doing the README files? Like, yo.
No, you did have to find the butterfly in the ring, and you have to circle different objects around to see if you can find the butterfly. That one on the ring was hard to find.
They spun fast. Like, I don't know about you guys, but I was like, whoa. Like, ease up the butterfly. Like, whoa. Calm down. And then I clicked it, and it was, but I didn't read what the game was about. I just started sort of playing it.
I started playing it. You didn't find out to the end where you're like, damn.
Yeah, so I was a little confused because it was like a child, and then there was like a woman who was pregnant. So I was like, that's a little backwards. Like I shouldn't the baby unless it was like a second child. So I thought
think
maybe
it was just it's supposed to represent all the different people.
Yeah. I knew that it was more like as soon as you step into this game, you have an inkling. Like after the first object, that it was going to be sort of like about a memorial. Like if this was going to be about losing someone or death or some type of like transition to that. That's just sort of the feeling that I got. The butterfly animation was cool. Like it. Remember, for those of you, I don't know if you guys like had your kids watch. Shit, what was it? God, I thought about it last night. They were like no, it was like this UK show, and they were like these round little things that look like shit. Oh God, I lost it. Anyway, there's like this one cartoon that I used to like. My daughter used to fall asleep to it all the time. Like she would just pass out to it, so we would watch it. And shit, now I gotta look it up. But it reminded me of that because it would have like the butterflies that would come down, and then they would just sort of like.
I think to me the darkest thing, or I don't say the darkest thing, but the most thing that hit home was the idea is that you kept walking from point A to point B. You were following a physical person, or you would, there was a person standing on that spot. As soon as you got closer, you found out it was an item. And at the end, you start figuring out that, these items are tied to physical people who died, and that the items washed up short. That was pretty deep.
Yeah. I want to give a shout out to my brother. Thanks shout out to my brother Andre, who's watching right now and texted me, and he texted me that it could be related to the butterfly effect, and I think that's actually it. When you think about it, the whole idea of, especially considering the reason, the namesake of the butterfly effect is the whole idea that a butterfly flapping its wings on one side of the planet, that flap could potentially result in a tornado or a hurricane on the other side of the world or something. And I think that's exactly what this is. Yeah. So, hey, thanks, Big Bro, for setting that. I think that's exactly what happened here.
The cartoon I was thinking of was Booba. I don't know.
I'm
It's
not
some
familiar
weird
with that
ass
one.
thing that like showed up late at night, and like I don't know, when my teenager was like a toddler, she would like, yo, she would calm down and that shit. Like, it was amazing.
Yeah.
Anywho, but yeah, no, the butterflies were beautiful.
Yeah, and I think that
really,
whole
it was
effect
so cool. Yeah.
of like seeing. I mean, I can only imagine being on like the coast, just walking, having a beach day with your family, and then finding something, written
Or
in
finding
Japanese, for
or
example,
thinking you see all ghosts, and then you get closer to the ghost, and you find out it's a haunted item.
object. Yeah,
Or an object that
yeah,
of people who died in
a wedding
a tsunami.
ring, like a toy or something of that nature. Darts of Mobile Right sounds like a memorial. In fact, yeah, several of the comments and like reviews kind of like reference it as such, as like a memorial of sorts. And we, definitely, as we say with all these games, check them all out. This one had, I would say, the most powerful part of it was the ending, where, as we said in the description, one of the focuses of this game was to illustrate the humans, the individual human stories. Because when we hear these things, like 10,000 people or 15,000 people dying in these horrible disasters, it's hard to, it just feels like a statistic. And so this game really has you like looking at each of these individual items, realizing that each of these items is connected to an actual life that was affected in some way by this tragedy. And at the end of the game, when you kind of reach your furthest point, you kind of look back and you just see a massive amount of kind of ghost people of sorts, spirits, I guess would be like a more appropriate term.
Yeah,
I think
but it was really nice because it did sort of give you some thought into like, when you do go to the beach, when we do get to go to beaches again.
Yeah.
Just the amount of like memories or history, like depending on what you find on shore, you know what I mean? There's always kind of like some story behind it. So that was a nice bit of information, or it was a good feeling that I took away from that not everything is just, everything has a meaning to it. And you're right, butterfly effect, I think that was absolutely spot on. The little ripples of the butterfly wings can affect, so much across all kinds of destinations and time zones and stuff. So it was touching, it was different. I will have to say, though, not mechanically, I'm sorry, but setting it up for a stream was a little tricky because you couldn't tab out. You kind of had to shift tab it. So that was a little bit annoying. I don't like it when games don't give you, because as a streamer, it's just harder.
Yeah.
Because you got to kind of like mess with stuff.
How do you feel
about it? Like I didn't like to on Death Estate, it didn't full screen. You had to just
I had that same
kind of plays. Like you can control F4, like you can do any like the little hacks to make it bigger. So those are like the only things about the games, or that game that I didn't like was just that. It was just having to stream it, being able to stream it it wasn't made for streaming.
Yeah, and for those watching, we should say, like, what you're seeing here is what you get. Like, this isn't, even as the developers say, this isn't like the most traditional game, even in the gaming sense. Like, it is kind of a digital memorial of sorts that I think is definitely, because of its interactivity, is made more powerful for sure. And I would definitely still put it in a game category. I am curious how you all feel about this idea of streaming games like this or visual novels. Like, lately I've kind of not streamed myself playing those sometimes because I feel like there's, well, I don't know. I don't know if you guys feel the same. Like, one, I don't really like reading stuff out loud. It's just like, I don't feel like it's as impactful or powerful as somebody like reading something in their mind. They're listening to my voice as grandma and the kid, and it's just like, and it's not like I'm winning an Academy Award here for my acting. So, but then also it's just like, it's like hard to jump in on a stream. Like if somebody jumps in and watches Fall Guys, you can drop in any moment and you know what's going on. But if you're watching Lieve Oma or one of these other games, unless you're like invested in following from the beginning, it doesn't give you the same impact. So I've kind of shied away from streaming like these more intimate games like this, also because it's like an intimate feeling. I kind of feel weird having a camera on me when I'm just like, maybe like a lone tears following. Am I the only one that's like that, or how do you all feel about that?
I'm not afraid to cry.
I'm not afraid to cry. Let's not go there.
Wow, the implication is strong.
No, I feel you on that, but yeah.
No, I would say it's actually fine for like if you're trying to do it again for the Pushes to Pixels, like because you eventually upload those on YouTube. So like if someone wants to watch it, because I did watch like The Walking Dead, for example. Like once I actually I beat the first one, then the second chapter, I think it was the name of it. Like I didn't want to play it as much as I enjoyed watching someone else play. So sometimes it's fine.
That was voiced though. Don't you think that makes a
that
difference?
was voiced? Yeah, you're right.
I think that makes a difference.
Sure,
Partly, at least.
I think that back.
Yeah, and that's the thing too, is that I know one of the bigger Twitch genres of games that people stream is survival horror. You know, the idea of specifically story run. They're doing story-driven runs where you're just running through the story. So yeah, for smaller, maybe like 30-minute games, maybe not so much, but I definitely see there's a market there for people who want to just watch to see if the story.
Yeah. And I'd imagine our audience is like higher on that meter for sure. I definitely want.
I'm definitely. Yeah, I mean, me personally, I definitely love doing the visual, and I was like, my community, they like it when I do them too, because I think, what was it, when I did Far From Noise?
Yeah.
And just like my mannerisms, just how my personality, like whenever I was doing it, my community, they sat there and they were like, why does it sound just like why do you fit the whole character? Because I feel like I try to feel into I'm just a feeler, like I said. So I actually, like Tony said, I'm not afraid to cry. I will bawl my eyes out in front of my community. I don't care, because I mean, I feel I'm emotional. Like that's what I look for. So with my community, knowing that that's the things that I look for when I play those games, like I'm okay with being raw in front of people, like streaming. That's why I chose to be like a streamer.
It was pretty one of the things that I really want to I would encourage everyone to play this game. One of the biggest things that really stuck home is the fact that you're following paths and you see a physical person standing there, and then when you get there, it's actually an object. And it's not until the end you realize that each one of those objects represent a physical person.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. I think that's you're totally right. That makes you realize it's the connection between the object and that it's not just an object. That the material object has some sort of sentimental or representational value for the human. I totally feel you on that. Derivative in the chat saying feels games are my stream bread and butter. I totally feel you guys. Yeah, I don't know. It's just sometimes I feel like if I want to have a more intimate experience, I don't want to do it on camera. You know what I mean? Like
I feel like that's naturally normal. Like I feel like that is something that is normal. Because when you don't want to feel vulnerable in front of everyone. I feel like that's just natural for us as people. Is when we want to feel, I guess feel like we're taught to feel in private, not feel and have our emotions everywhere for everyone else. I feel like that's just something that we're conditioned to do.
I feel
I don't believe in that at all. Like I'm going to be raw in front of people. But it took me learning that and accepting who I am and discovering myself to be like, okay, well, this is who I am. If you don't like that, like, then you wouldn't be here watching me stream.
Counterpoint to that, though. Like, I totally feel you on that, and I feel like it's good to be, like, open and honest with, like, your emotions and feelings when you're having these experiences. But part of it also, I kind of wonder where is, like, it almost is a private moment, and if people are, like, streaming, you can't help but factor in that I, like, need to be entertaining, I need to, like, respond to people, I need to be at least mindful that there's a chat and viewers. Like, I can't just, like, sit there for, like, 5 minutes in silence, and just, like, think about things and, like, go have a coffee or this, you know what I mean? Like I'm like in this environment where I have to perform.
Absolutely.
You can't the type of content creator that you are, you know what I mean? I think it varies. Like for me, it's like I'm just sort of like a natural like person. Like I'll get up, I'll grab whatever, I think the only game that really made me cry is A Plague's Tale. There's like a chapter there that was like really heartfelt. I bawled and I was like, oh my god, I can't believe it. And it was the one thing that really but it just depends on what type of content creator that you are. Like, if you're an authentic person, then you're not going to be able to help showing emotion on stream. If you're an authentic person, you're not going to be able to help yourself if you have to get up while you're live before your Be Right Back screen is. And just, you know what I mean? So I think it comes with the entertainment factor is that, you can entertain and you can show how you can, keep your energy going depending on what type of subject that you're trying to show or reveal depending on your content, but
But there's
I
like
think
more
that-
people involved. You feel me? It's like
yeah,
it's
I
almost
think
like this is an
becomes
intimate
more.
experience.
It brings your community together in a way because
Right,
they get to
yeah.
sense your emotion. They're kind of feeling the same way too, or even if they're not, they can have some empathy to how you're feeling because you're playing the game. And so, a lot of times, as a streamer, we do get emotionally invested in the games that we're playing, especially depending on. If it's a visual novel, if it's just a story-based game, I think it just depends on what type of entertainer that you are. If you don't or if you're not comfortable sharing your emotions in person, then don't stream these games. You know what I mean? It depends on what you're trying, what type of community you're trying to grow, what type of brand that you have specifically for yourself, and how you can emotionally handle games of this type or games in general on a regular basis. Because any game,
That's a good point.
whether it's upbeat or whether it's sad, can really affect you, and that's why a lot of us get burned out very quickly because we get so invested in all these games. So
It almost reminds me
on
though
your
of
creator.
like it's almost to use a weird example, kind of like pornography. Though it's like you and your partner are not having like the intimate experience. You're like thinking of the camera and like the angles and the other stuff, right? And it's like, can you? Right? Hey, Tony, I think it's a good example.
I was on mute, but I was like, what the fuck?
I think the example is actually genius.
With pornography.
I think the example is actually perfect, and I'm going to defend it. I totally think so. Because it's like the whole idea of like intimacy, like between you and the game, or like this emotional experience, and it being shared by other people, and you're also performing for others. So your mind, it's hard to be like fully focused on one thing when you're also factoring in other considerations.
Well, right, because when you're filming a pornography, most of the time you're not in a room by yourself. There's people around. There's equipment. You have to focus on the task at hand, and then also be aware of your surroundings. People watching.
All I know is if I ever go into Mike's house and I go to his bookshelf and I find a tape that is not labeled, it might be The Ring. I don't know.
Nobody uses tape anymore, Tony. What are you talking about?
It would be on a USB flash drive. Okay.
Everybody has a cell phone.
It'd be on a SIM card.
Right. Or check them video files on the iPhone.
Why does Google keep autocorrecting to Ebony MILF? So no, I'm just kidding. No, I'm kidding. Oh God. Woo!
But Michael, I get your point as far as
thank you
playing games and like having that being like a kind of like a personal experience, because like that. I always saw like that was one thing about video games throughout my whole life playing video games, is that it is one of those, because of the interactivity of it, sometimes it's just such a an oddly intimate experience that it is odd to be recorded and shared. I mean, it's when I have that in mind, I'm not close to any one of you. Y'all here top tier streamers. I'm nothing. When it comes to recording anything and even sharing a game and even playing on Discord and sharing the screen and playing with someone else and multiplayer and so on, it's just completely different when I'm just by myself after work, just trying to get a game in and just play something, compared to knowing that I'm streaming something. So whenever I'm actually streaming, and I don't stream much, but when I do, I just end up having my category is just hanging, just chatting or hanging out, and that's because I just want people to jump in, and talk with me. And at that point, it's more I know I'm already doing it in a social experience, social. I'm playing the game socially, compared, almost being in an arcade and other people can be around me, compared to when there's some games where I'm okay, I'm not in the mood for anything else. I'm not gonna talk. I know that for sure, and I just want to be focused on hearing everything on the soundtrack and so on. So I get both points, is what I'm trying to get to here.
And I
Amari, you said top tier streamers. I just like to reiterate, my name's Tony, and I like to play video games. That's my plug.
That's what I love about streamers and the content that they pull and the communities that they pull, because your community is literally based off of who you are as a person. So those are the people that you draw in. So no matter what type of content, there's no extreme right way to stream, because the people who love you are people who like your style are gonna find you. You
Yeah.
know, like you put yourself out there, so your community knows who you are as a person. So however you are when you stream is what they're going to accept or what they are there for. You know, so I love how everybody has a unique way of streaming. Everybody has their unique communities because your community is literally what you create it to be because it's based off of you.
That's a
Mhm.
good point.
Yeah.
I think though it's interesting though. I still think like that whole idea of people observing you, and maybe it's just a personal issue. Maybe I need to think about this and talk about this more. Is like, I think a lot of it is like processing it after the fact. And like you know, like I don't know what my emotion is, or like Amar to do a reference back. Hey, thanks for following True Nirvana. Really appreciate you there. And if anybody is watching right now, if you're not following, we'd love if you did. Really appreciate the support. If you enjoy these types of conversations, like, subscribe, smash the bell, all that good stuff. Amar, because like you jokingly said earlier when we were talking Veinless Property that you know you laugh in the face of horror, and we all have like these kind of quirks, right? And so if like you're on stream and suddenly something's happening and you're laughing and people are like don't get it maybe or like you know like sometimes these games like almost like guide you too strongly with like sound and emotion to like say like you should be crying now or you should be laughing now, and sometimes it's like I want to kind of get a feel for like where this is going before I give my full reaction. You know, just like when I'm watching a movie, I might be having a great time but my face might be like this, you know, the whole time. So
totally.
it just that part to me feels it's just hard, I guess, to like perform in multiple ways. I don't know.
I totally agree.
Well, if it's a performance issue you're worried about.
Wait a second now. What are we talking about?
Hold on.
I'm just joking. But I think it just depends on how. I'm just saying, right? There's supplements for that.
God.
I think it just depends. After like you've been streaming for a while and you get used to it, it just kind of like happens. I don't know, but it just depends. I guess like on just. I agree with everything that Layla said. A lot of it has to do with just. You know, the community that you surround yourself with and how you want to sort of portray yourself as, I guess, as a content creator, as like a social media person, as like an entertainer. But if you don't stream often, or if you're not used to this biz, then it can be a problem, and I think it stunts a lot of people's growth or their ability to really pursue this as a sustainable career, because it can be. I mean, it's sort of like hit or miss. It's a bit of a luck of the draw, really. But you know, if this is something that you really want to get into, then it's just being able to have that mindset to understand that there are times where you are going to be raw on camera, and it's just, you know, are you going to be okay with that in the long run? Because it's the internet.
No, great point.
And it will be like, as most of you know, Twitch is still banning people for DMCA because even though you delete the VOD, doesn't mean that Twitch has deleted the VOD. So you're just on the internet if you cried, you know. Twitch has it somewhere in their files. So it's just it just depends, I think, on how expressive you want to be, how you want to portray yourself as, and what type of content you know, like I said, just what type of content
that connects to one other point I want to say. I know we're running over, and Tony, you probably got to eat. I know your wife always, you and her always have your
okay. And I had my
G Fuel.
Oh, so he's prepared. He's got the extra calories to keep going.
He's got his performance ready. Derivative saying there's no wrong way to eat a Reese's, and laughing about performance anxiety, and Cody laughing at me, saying like, subscribe, smash the bell. I want to say one thing, and I'm being dead serious here. I'm going to go back to my porn analogy, but I'm serious about this because I think there actually is something to it. Like, one of the things is like with the rise of streaming, so many young people, these Generation Z Zoomers, what have you, are like, they are experiencing content very differently from when we were. We were used to like scripted moments that were like the moments, the Disney Channel moments of a writer's room. It might have not been real, but like it was like scripted. So right now, I think what I'm worried about is I feel like, you know, we're all adults. We have a lot of life experiences. I feel like this group and everybody who's actually been on this show is really authentic with their streams. But if you do randomly start clicking on some of these younger streams, younger streamers or whatever, like the emotional exaggeration, like they're saying they're authentic, and I'm not dissing everybody here by any means. They're young. We were all young at one point, but like to please an audience, it's like dramatically wild emotions. And so like when I say like pornography, like a lot of younger people who like watch that stuff think that's sex. You know what I mean? That's the body type it needs to be. Those are the things you need to do, the angles, all this stuff, exactly that. And I think some people who watch streamers in like modern times, especially these big ones that are really popular, they try to like emulate that behavior. You can go on YouTube right now and see that. And so I guess that's also kind of a bit of the concern, is like if we kind of almost make shallow, like water down the idea of showing emotion publicly through streaming. Does that all make sense?
Yeah, no,
That makes sense. Especially, I don't know if y'all have ever seen Euphoria. It's on HBO Max, but like that was definitely like that example that you're giving about like what they think, or like what young people nowadays think things are. Like that's definitely a good show to watch if you've ever like, seen it.
I couldn't finish it. Too depressing.
But that's literally like how those are the things that that they're dealing with, that we don't even like that's why I like it so much. That is definitely a feeler. Like that is me, obviously, why I recommend it, because it shows everything. But I get what you're saying. I get what you mean, how things can be misinterpreted, or like the extra things that like how things aren't really, but they're over exaggerated. I get what you're trying to say.
I think that's just an element of like kind of like the theater element of streaming, I guess, is that you kind of have to put on the face to come in to entertain to some extent. Now I know not everyone does it, and even from the big names, even to be fair, some of the younger like content creators, they don't do that. But yeah, there are a lot of popular ones who have I don't even know how to explain it, but like it's the over go on all expressions, like overly laugh on things like that almost sounds acting out. Like I get all of that happens, but I feel like that has always been just a thing of like trying to, like take that behavior, and I feel like that's like it been around. I mean, of course, it's new with streaming, but like it always been around with like I don't know, like being in business, right? Like if you're like a car salesman, like you always have the commercial
I see what you're saying.
Of like people behaving like that, because that's just what's accepted in that context. It is somewhat painful in a way, because it does impact people to behave that way, but I just feel like it's a style thing, and I feel like at some point streamers
a young thing, especially.
Yeah.
It's a young thing.
It's funny. Yeah, what I think is it's funny because like I know I'm very emotional when I stream. Like I'm very like I rage and all that stuff, but it's also what Amar is saying is that it's over exaggerated. But when I like my day-to-day when I work, I'm literally pleasing everybody all day. I'm serving people. Like I'm putting on. That's when I put my face on. I'm putting my face on, trying to make everybody happy, trying to make sure customers are happy. So when I stream, that is when I get to be raw. That is when I get to be in my safe place. That is when I get to actually be myself. So that it's awesome how streamers and content creators are so unique in the way that they do things and the way that they interact with their community.
Okay. But I think the VTuber thing that Derivative brings up in chat is sort of like a slippery slope, as in like not having your camera on. Like that's always a huge debate too. Is should I be a streamer that has my camera on? Should I be a streamer that has my camera off? Like I think it depends on. It just depends on the situation. Can you elaborate on that?
Like, I don't know if I understand what we're talking about.
And also elaborate on what for someone not in the industry.
Okay, so a VTuber. Okay, so a VTuber, and correct me if I'm wrong, but a VTuber is basically one of those people that have a character animated. So they're the ones that are talking, but the VTuber or the animation, the picture is the one that and that's sort of becoming the new thing now. Which is I don't know, like I think because then when you do like a big face reveal, that could be like a hit or miss.
Yeah, like an avatar.
Yeah, like an avatar. There you go. That's there you go. That's the word for it. It's like an avatar that people are starting to do now.
Wow.
Which I think is great for some streamers.
Interesting.
But I think that can also be a little bit of a slippery slope business wise, because sometimes if they then they do like this big face reveal, or I'm gonna turn on my camera if you do X amount of things sometimes, and I think that like. I don't know. That's just weird how I don't know. I think it's bad for business. I think you should be either or. Either be a VTuber or have your camera off or have it don't. Because for some people it works not having their camera on as a streamer. VTubering sometimes works for people, but then when you start doing like that weird face reveal, it's like, how does that person know who you really are when all of a sudden you're just kind of like revealing yourself, you know? And I think that's what a lot of this younger generation does, is that they just sort of go with the trends more so than actually like having real content, if that makes sense, you know, because you're trying to portray this character. You know, you're not really trying to portray yourself. If you're not careful, you'll slip up, because there's always those YouTubers or those streamers that have a character, and they're always the ones that get clipped out of context and people try to cancel because they're not.
But isn't that what people?
You tend to sleep up, and you end up showing your authentic self one way or another, and that can either hurt or.
That's the problem, though. Like, you know, I like in general, like indie game club's never going to be like a big show. You know, I'm just happy. You know, I'm just happy anybody's watching stuff like that, because you know, I don't know how many like this type of content, these types of discussions aren't like common. Like, you know, if we wanted to be big, we would do some ridiculous thumbnail and just be like, whoa, you know, doing like all sorts of slime challenges or whatever the hell the kids want for views. And so I think that's the whole thing. You're like doing all this stuff. You are kind of, is a really bizarre feedback loop where the content you're producing is based on what people seem to actually like, because like human nature or the human condition is such that people do seem to be attracted by drama, TMZ, World Star Hip Hop, whatever it may be. People seem to be into that sort of thing. We've all been guilty of clicking on something like that. And so it kind of creates this whole situation. So the VTuber thing kind of bothers me a bit just to hear about that. I don't think I've ever actually really seen that in full effect, because like that also brings up issues of identity, like connecting this character and portrayal. It seems like,
and you can change your voice. Like, what if it's a dude, and then like all these little kids are like all up on you? Like, that's just a slippery slope and shit. You know what I mean? That's just.
Wait, what the hell? Like, I just literally went to YouTube and typed in the term VTuber, and I had no idea what the hell it was and now I'm looking at it and I'm like, oh, okay, people will actually do this. I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah, to have, what does Steam have, that face rig? So a lot of people use face rig, but now they're getting all like fancy with that shit.
That is wild.
You know, but then it's like that costs money too. So are you gonna draw your own like avatar? Are you gonna have something like that? You know, I think it's, you know, or like these new streamers that put so much money in the best and biggest equipment, and you know they don't. It's weird how things have sort of shifted in content creation. Sure. You know, especially when the young ones thinking, oh, you know, it's so I can just get behind a camera and play video games and it's super easy peasy. But you pour a lot of yourself into this. Like, I know over the years my overlays have changed, my personality has changed. Sure. You know, I've just kind of gone with the times, and I think that you know, you sort of learn your lesson on, you know, you try to be this one type of person, you know, the girl that does like the makeup and the hair, and I like to look cute sometimes, but other times it's like a process. I don't want to have to get ready just to stream, you know. So it's just weird.
That's a good point.
Definitely.
And I think you want the public to actually see you as authentic too, because I think one of the difficulties is as like streamers grow, as human beings grow, they're going to change the type of content they produce. They might even change their views on things, and sometimes the audience doesn't necessarily allow that. Or I mean, I'm going to be honest, when I started doing all this live streaming stuff, I wasn't attracted to the idea of really doing it live. I like the idea of audience interaction, but doing it live, I was like terrified I was going to say something wrong. Right? And like, I mean, I'm sure right now, if I ever decided to get back into like political life, somebody's going to clip one of those things I said like 10 minutes ago, and that's going to be like, did you know Michael should, you know, like, you know, compared this to pornography, you know, that sort of thing. And it's like, it's hard to like live authentically with like this looming
performances.
And that is kind of partly, I'm not trying to fully hate on this, because like right now it's been kind of embraced by kind of right-wing extremists, but there is some element to cancel culture that is like harmful in many ways, the way it's used. And so I just think that's another layer to this, that young people or other people who are streaming trying to be authentic will make mistakes, and I hope we all collectively have the grace of like forgiveness and like a willingness to recognize people's growth in these situations.
But personas are hard to keep up, and if you start off with the persona, it's going to get exhausting, and you're going to reveal yourself, like you're going to slip up. Like it's hard to maintain.
Yeah,
it's so hard to maintain, because you have to balance that into your real life, and it's just it's hard. I just can't, like, you know, I have my moments where I do my makeup, and you know, I try to look somewhat presentable, but there are days where, you know, I'm not going to have makeup on. I'm not going to, like, my hair is going to be like a hot mess. I'm going to be in sweats, and that should be okay. You know, you should be used to me looking like that, so I'm not having to dress up all the time to, like, appease you or whatever. You know what I mean? I think once people start to learn that within their content, that it's you really just need to please yourself. I mean, yeah, you want to hit a certain demographic and you want to get this X amount of stuff. Like, there's goals as a streamer you want to reach, because do we all want to get partnered? Of course that we do. You know, do we want to be able to make a solid income from this? Of course we do. You know, that's why we get into this business, you know. But it depends on, like, what type of personal, because it's a learning process. You know, you can take from this business and you can give from this, you know, give to this business. So, you know, what type of person do you want to be, really? You know, do you want it to take from you, or do you want to give to it, you know?
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I see it, you know. And
I totally feel you on that.
Yeah, it's just hard. Yeah, you just got to think of it that way.
Definitely. I felt everything that you were saying for sure. Because
that's why we brain.
Right. Right. That was definitely good. I loved that.
Because it's hard, and especially being a woman, it's sort of like a learning process. Do you fit the trend? Do you wear the knee-high socks? Do you take photos of yourself all, like, sexy in your chair with the trying to balance the selfie stick at the same time? You know what I mean? Like, how do you do it? What do you do? You know,
that people are thinking about. I think that's like,
I feel like that's where I think I struggle. Or not even really struggle, like, because we pick and choose, you know, as women, like, we pick and choose what we're gonna do. Like, I'm going to do my makeup. Y'all see me, like, before we actually go live, like, I will literally be here doing my makeup, like, before we go live. Like, that's something I'm gonna do. But what I'm not gonna do is all the, like, the other stuff. You're like, oh, the, like, how you position, how you're sitting, like,
what you wear. Like, you guys have seen me get up. I got pajama pants on.
Right, me, Batman. I got my bad.
Bananas and pajamas.
I'm not even in color sequence right now. Like, you know, like, so that's we pick and choose, like, as creators, what we're gonna do. So, I mean, that's one of the things that I'm gonna do my makeup, but you know what? If I'm not matching, then it is what it is. Like,
yeah, and your viewers can see that of you. Like, viewers can read you. They can tell, you know. So, it's what type of audience do you want to have? Do you want to perform for your audience every single day, or you just want to, like, be yourself in front of your audience every day?
Yeah.
You know, it's
every day.
It's hard, yeah.
I love these types of conversations. This is the stuff when we get into these territories where I just, like, absolutely love it, and I hope, like, our audience appreciates it, whether they're watching live now. I love these comments, these jokes, by the way, that Tempest and King of the Nerds are coming through with. But these are, like, the deeper things I think a lot of people are thinking about. Amar, I know you wanted to jump in, and we'll end this soon because I know we've gone way over time.
Honestly, I'm just here to listen because I was just going to relate. Like, I mean, I don't stream, so, like, coming in here, like, looking at all the other people's cameras, I'm like, oh my gosh, like, I got my lights finally set up, so, like, I'm trying to, like, position it correctly, and I was going to, like, commend you all to be like, y'all, it is the part of the thing, like, a part of, like, it's a skill set that you don't think of until you try to do anything with it, and then you're like, okay, I appreciate the amount of work that y'all do even more. Just seeing, like how hard it is, like me trying to set up my camera and, you know, having cats around me, not having a background and all that kind of stuff, so, compared to y'all. So just kind of commending you all for it more than anything.
No,
so
yeah, definitely.
No, that's awesome. And I think I love what Mystic also said here, saying just be you. And, like, to all of this point, like, I also think maybe hopefully as we move forward with all these things, whether you're watching and as like Amar said, however involved you are in streaming, like, also I'm hoping that we get to a point where people can, like, feel a sense of satisfaction regardless of, like, numbers, because it can be like it can be metric crazy weird. Like, what's my view count? Are people liking this? Why did the views just drop? Like, what did I say? You know, just something like this. And and you know, we're not even, like, big time with any of this stuff. I'm sure you guys and others, like, you know, think this stuff is much more on your mind, but it could be scary, could be anxiety inducing. Like, I'm hoping that you know, like, what was it, like, wasn't Instagram or, like, gonna get rid of the like at one point? Like, did you guys hear about that?
It was Twitter, right? Twitter was gonna get rid of it or something funny.
Okay, I was like,
I thought it was I swear it was Instagram was gonna experiment that they were gonna, like, they weren't gonna publicly show. Like, so for example, you would still see how many people liked your stuff, but it wouldn't, like, display, like, how many likes it was, just because it, like, they were really finding a lot that people were just, like, agonizing over this, and like younger people don't like understand the world the way we do. Like honestly, thank God we were born like we know pre-internet, post-internet. Thank God. And I'm just terrified about them growing up, you know, digital natives or whatever cool buzzword we want to throw in there. Yeah. Mic drop, I guess. Like, yeah, it's just.
No, yeah, I mean, that's he closed it because like that's.
It's sadly that they just have to grow up with it, but like they just have to adjust. Like it's like even with things like, you know, COVID now, it's like they have to just get used to a world that, which is, you know, whether it's fair or not, that's a different story. But like whether they have to like adjust to the world that they are dealing with now, with all the technology and everything, and it's just like it might have been better before, but yeah, now they have to be more aware of the things around them, you know, and so on. And I think,
and their safety, especially like as kids, you don't want to give them complexes, and so many young people, you know, both whatever gender they identify as, you know, it can be so stressful just that because at the young age nowadays, it seems just like social media is just everything. So having to teach your kids safety about that too, you know, what sites not to go on. You have to be more aware as a parent too, you know, what sites they're clicking on. You know, like it's funny to me, like, and I guess it's because we're on the internet, you know, and we deal with these things on a regular basis. Like it's just naturally for me to be like, look, like don't talk to people in chat, don't give anyone your real name, don't talk your age, like basic safety stuff for us, I guess, is something that I guess an average parent wouldn't really think of. So to hear all these stories about how like my, you know, daughter or son or whomever, you know, they went these people on the internet and things like, it just like, how do you not, like, you can't just give them a phone and a laptop and be like, here you guys go, like just Google what you need. Like, you know, you have to be more present as a parent, especially in the technological age, because you don't want them to have any issues about their perception of themselves growing up, because this is such social media is, you know, everything to a lot of young adults nowadays. So you don't want them to have a complex about it, you know, but you want them to be safe, but you don't want to be hovering. So it's weird. It's like a slippery slope nowadays. It's crazy. Never really have to worry about that.
Parenting in modern times, for sure, because there's so many other factors that it's also different, because as much as I think we're quite tech savvy, you know, relative to regular to most people in the population, we're quite tech savvy, and so we probably benefit from a parenting or communal side of sharing that knowledge. But it is, we don't necessarily understand that mentality of growing up with this natively, right? As much as we understand tech and are able to pick it up better than like our parents' generation, like it is different for them that they grow up with this, like in the school environment, in like, it's hard to even wrap our heads around. And like, you know, I mean, we are seeing increasing signs of mental health issues across, and part of that is people are just being able to more effectively diagnose and are more willing to talk about, which is fantastic. But then on the other side of that, there are like legitimately newfound obstacles that people are experiencing and are having trouble, and that technology and our culture is adapting so quickly that people and our fundamental physiology that's been the same for, you know, hundreds of thousands of years now at this point, it's tough. It is super tough. And this is some really deep, difficult things for us to kind of deal with. Yeah, I bet you guys didn't expect we were going to go there, did you? If you're into that type of crazy content.
We don't have time because I will go into it all day. Like, but we don't have, you know what? Maybe next time.
That's what we need to do.
I always dive into. I will dive into.
Well, Layla, say your piece. No, I definitely want to make sure you got the time and space. I will probably have to bounce in the next 5 minutes before I get murdered here. But hey, and shout out to Evan. Thanks so much for liking the stream. Hopefully, Evan hit me back up, because I think you're going to be on next week. Hopefully, but no, Layla, I'd love to hear your thoughts about it.
The raid. The goddesses have raided.
Hey, shout out to the Athena Alliance. You guys are so cool. Yeah. You guys came in right when we're having our deepest conversation of the night.
Deepest conversation, yeah.
Well, we love y'all. Layla, you got the floor. Let us know what you think on the subject.
All I was saying about like is mental health. Like I will always, every day. I don't care. Like I am one of the people that you can definitely come to about mental health. I will literally talk to you all day about it. Because I don't feel like us as a society, we don't talk about it enough. Like we don't give enough we don't have enough empathy. Like we don't have that. And there are some people that do, but it's just like it's something that is not common. I feel like to go and dive into mental health, self care, self love.
Totally.
It's been so draining on everyone. Like I feel like everybody I know right now is going through the hardest times of their lives, and it's just like, and where do they go? They feel like they have nowhere to go to because we don't make it, and we don't make enough effort into diving into that, acknowledging that, talking about it. It's just a sore subject. It's just like a no subject for people, and I forever will be that for like. You want to talk? What are you going through? Well, this is what this and that. Like I will do that all day, but that's because I'm an empath. Like I will make sure I do that every day because I can feel how people feel. Like I'm that person where you walk in and like as a manager, my biggest thing as being a manager, whenever I was in a bar manager, was my staff would walk in and one of my staff staff members would be off or something like that, and I would just tell right away, and I'm just like, hey, are you good? And they're like, no, actually today, but like I'm that person. So I feel like we do not talk enough about mental health. We don't care enough about each other to be like, hey, they're moody today, they're being an asshole today, whatever. Like it's like, no, like they're not usually like that. So
Yeah,
what
absolutely.
is going on? What's wrong with them? We don't do that enough as a community. We don't do that enough as. So I will talk about it every day. I will, as long as we need to talk about it, I will do it because that is my biggest thing. That is something that I strive for. That is one of my passions, is to make sure that people around me are healthy and are striving to be healthy because I know what it feels like to be in that position.
I think that goes back to that whole idea of authenticity too. I think that's also kind of one of the difficulties. I don't want to speak on everybody's behalf, but I gather that the guests on Indie Game Club, something we do share in common is that when we are looking to streamers and others in this experiences, it's not like looking at it as just like sheer entertainment or a transactional sort of situation where it's just like, oh, what entertainment can this person provide for me? We tend to like go towards like deeper content, deeper conversations, playing these types of meaningful games that like we're discussing today, because of that kind of, I guess, that yearning for authenticity and just the human connection that hopefully we all kind of naturally share in that way. Tony, I see that the comments are alive with the thoughts of G Fuel. For those who are just joining us, I definitely would encourage you all to check out the VOD later because we had a lot of things comparing streaming to pornography to discussing Dear Grandma, separate conversations, of course, but all sorts of different things we discussed. So definitely, if you're new, we would love if you follow us and check us out. Doing Indie Game Club every Thursday. I hate for folks to raid and then us to end it right here, but normally the show goes till 9 o'clock and it's almost 10, so I think we can formally.
We can raid someone else, right? Like
we can raid, yes. In fact, I see we definitely want to keep the raids going for sure. Let's see. I was gonna say, okay, who do we got? Let's raid the mage. We got a lot of love for the mage. The mage is definitely always raiding us. And
I was gonna give you someone else. But that's...
Who do you got? Who do you got?
It is Zach from my boy.
Yeah, where is he at? I don't think I actually have him on here.
Yeah, I don't know. His stream name is Funny Butt. So
Funny Butt.
How did he manage to grab that? First of all,
well, there's a no. Sorry, I'll give you I dropped it in the chat in the Discord. So
okay, let me grab that here, and we'll throw him.
Yeah, Farty Butts. Yeah, I know him. Zach.
Farty Butts 69 420.
I regretted it. As soon as I said it, I was like, "Oh, I have someone."
This is the best way to end the stream. This is the best way to end it. I already put 69 420.
Jack, Zach is an amazing person.
I love it.
I met him in person, but just wanted to add.
No, I appreciate that. Yeah, we'll definitely get that going right here. I want to give a shout out to the people in our chat real quick. True Nirvana saying, first time viewer, I'll try to join earlier next time. Thanks so much, True Nirvana. Appreciate you also following. I'd love hit me up with a message. I'd love to know how you heard about the show, and appreciate that so much. King of the
Also
Nerds
on YouTube.
saying,
Content on YouTube, so you can always catch up all the previous episodes.
Facebook, YouTube, Twitch. I think Twitch is like our highest for live. Facebook, I think, actually has the most for like people watching it after the fact, and then YouTube there. King of the Nerd saying, I really enjoy the deep conversation episodes. Really appreciate you. We're gonna keep coming with those. I think we always got to make sure that outside of like the cool arcadey short experiences we come through with, is that we always have at least some of these more deeper dive conversations. I love that so much. All right, so with that being said, we are going to raid Farty Butt 69420 after having a deep conversation. We'll get that going right here.
Yo, this is the best name ever. Farty Butt 69420.
Zach, who's the owner of Amari, by the way, show him some love. Right
yeah.
there. Everybody in. All right, let's raid and side off here.